Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today, and welcome to episode 142 of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. Today, I'm joined by the plumber who will stop your leak, Lord Cognito. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. They calling me the anti-plumber. I had a lot of Mario slander recently on IOP, and they're killing me right now because I told them, I was like, yo, I just don't think I'm the target demographic for their first party. So I explained to them the defining Duke term of when you call me, we call each the Uncle Creepy vibe, like I'm not supposed to be here. So I had to explain the IOP. I was like, this is what discussions me and Matty have all the time. You know, he clowns me. So yeah, it was a fun discussion. So yeah, right now plumbers don't like me, Mario fans don't like me. But I like the rest of your IPs are really cool. But other than that, I'm doing good. Besides, it's a very leaky day in the world of, But first of all, how are you doing, sir? How you doing?
I'm doing well. It's to call it a busy week would be an understatement. There's always been something to talk about or read. It has been quite a lot, ladies and gentlemen. Xbox this week has suffered in their 20-plus year history the biggest leak ever for the company.
Yeah.
And arguably one of the biggest leaks in gaming ever. Right there with the NVIDIA GeForce Now leak. It's kind of going to probably be a little bit of a Bible, like, okay, when's this thing coming? And a lot of Xbox's future plans have been entirely spoiled. So we're going to get into all of that this week. It's going to be a fun one. It felt like just every time I finished this script, there was one more thing to add. As Cog, we were talking up until the very hour we're doing this show, and I added like 3 more things in here. So it's going to be the gift that keeps on giving. As a heads up, before we start this whole show, when it comes to Tokyo Game Show, which we did say we were expecting some type of news for Xbox. They're hosting a showcase there. We will not be covering that. By the time this goes live, it'll already happened. But the way we want to break it up is let's focus on the leaks now. Let's talk about everything that's happening in the world of Xbox now. I'm sure next week with an FTC decision seemingly impending on top of TGS and whatever else happens from the fallout of these leaks, we'll have much to talk about next week. So we thought this was the best way to break up the conversation without delaying any of the episodes. So that's what's going on here. If you're looking for TGS stuff, that will be next week. And I can't believe it, Cog. They finally brought Final Fantasy VII Remake to Xbox.
Oh yeah? What did you hear? Please inform.
No, I don't know. I'm firing one out there.
We put it out. We put it out in the universe.
We're putting it out there. Yeah, we're gonna try to manifest. Well, actually, they brought like Paranormasight to Xbox or something like that. Just some random game.
Yeah, we had our picks. So we had our conservative picks of what we think we could have.
Yes.
So let's see.
Yes, Pixel Remaster perhaps, but we'll talk about that next week.
Octo 2 or something. But hey, if you want to give us a surprise, you want to make Cloud and Tifa come outside.
Look, there is a bit of news here that I guess may be dated by the time we cover, but it's a bit of news nonetheless that I wanted to talk about here in regards to Final Fantasy 16's exclusivity, or I'm sorry, Final Fantasy 7 Remake Part 2's exclusivity rebirth. So with that, let's begin, Cog, shall we? Got a bunch of write-ins. Joe Dumont writes, hello, Dukes. First time writing in, and I have no question, just wishing you the best sifting through the boatload of leaked docs. I look forward to your breakdown of it all. Thanks for all your shows, Joe. Cog, I wanted to ask you something when I saw this.
What's up?
What do you think? Because like Phil probably traveled to Japan, right? And it's probably the middle of the night. Like, do you think he was laying there in bed, sleep cap on, breaks out into a cold sweat?
Oh man!
Picks up the phone. What the fuck do you mean it leaked? Sarah, get up.
Bro.
We have a leak. Do you think that's kind of what happened? Like, break down the situation for me.
For me, I've got to assume it's code red, right? It's got to be like, because obviously the team's preparing for TGS, like you said, right? And it's got to be, hey, inform the top teams. This is out there. How are we handling it? and then obviously we'll get into statements that were made after. But it's all hands on deck. There's no way, like, bro, the extent of this leaks, like, it's crazy. So yeah, my opinion is this: someone got woke up, and this went across company wide, and then it comes down to that emergency meeting, right? How do we handle? How do we want to approach? What do we want to say to the media? It's kind of like crisis management in a way, right? And it's basically what can we do to mitigate as much as possible, and then also, which we're going to get into, is its fault, right? How did this happen? Who's at fault? And the sad thing is, if it's what's alleged out there to be, and it's on the Microsoft side, then yeah, we got to look at job security for said individual or like, these are things from a lawyer standpoint. I mean, mistakes happen, but man, like, if it is
what a mistake.
Yeah, if it is conclusively proven that it was on the Microsoft side, then yeah, send some prayers, some love to the individual and that team, because those are, I hate to say, those are fireable offenses. Like, those with this, man, it's code red. It was code red out there.
Yeah, no doubt. Just the idea of Phil, Aaron Greenberg, Sarah just sitting there in a Zoom call, blue stripe pajamas, just like, what do we do, guys?
Zoom.
They know about the next Xbox. What do we do?
Slack chat. It was an emergency. Team, something went down with the key players, and it was on. It was on.
We will talk about it more, but thank you for the well wishes, Joe.
Yes,
we got a correction here from Constellation, but we're going to carry it into Duke because I was the one who said it. Joseph Gedgudas, I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. Gedgudas, it looks like. Double G here. Hi, Dukes. As Matty correctly predicted on the latest episode of Constellation, a correction is necessary regarding the democracy that featured Matty's favorite flavor, distortion. Well, Matty was correct that Whiteout was a part of the competition. Whiteout, and not Code Red, was actually the winning flavor. Code Red, on the other hand, has been around since 2001. It was never a part of any of the Mountain Dew fan votes. Anyway, keep up the great work and have a my sister was a jobber on AEW Rampage kind of day. Hey, that's great. We love that.
That's dope.
Make that bread. That's bread. Dope. Get some TV time. So we were talking about this on Constellation, and we were talking about nostalgia and like how certain smells trigger memories. I was mentioning how a smell of summer reminded me of drinking some Mountain Dew Distortion, playing MW2, like grabbing it from my mom's car. And I talked about how I was upset that Code Red beat it out because I can't stand Code Red. But it appears I'm wrong, and it's been around my entire lifetime. So.
I love the extent of the Mountain Dew knowledge here. Like, this is deep.
I wish they did more democracy. So I don't know. I'm going to walk into another correction now because maybe they're still doing it. I don't drink soda anymore. I'm just a bystander at this point. So I'm not in the Mountain Dew community.
Soda drinking now.
There's probably Mountain Dew YouTubers, right? If there's Forza YouTubers, there has to be Mountain Dew YouTubers.
There has to be.
All right. Cog, we need your wisdom here.
Let's go.
Eugene Levy, bassist. Hey, Dukes. I'm really interested in playing a couple of co-op games with my wife. The problem is she doesn't like playing games with me because when we would play against each other in the past on games like Mario Kart, I win every time. She said I should let her win. Fellas, should I bite the bullet and give her a win or make her earn it? Thanks, guys, and I thought the conversation about the cheese and onion sandwich was forgotten, but someone had to bring it back kind of day. There's a lot of lore in these write-ins, by the way. There's a couple of conclusions to these write-ins there's one in particular that I have that I'm like, wow, someone dug into the Matty lore.
Oh, somebody dug into the crates?
Oh my God.
Wow.
Big time. So, Cog, what do? You're in a relationship, things are going steady, but video games are not a unifying force, but a dividing one at that. And when you beat your beloved in a game of Mario Kart, she gets very upset with you. Have you been through this? What would you do in Eugene's shoes?
This is tough because the competitor in us, we show, we never spare a quarter. It's usually blood in the streets. It's like, hey, you're going to learn. You're going to get better. Because I want you to get to that point where you earned it. You satisfied that you beat me. But if I'm dominating, and I've been in this situation before where it's kind of like, I can't get one. You're going to let me win. That kind of thing. So in my opinion, this is what I've done. This has been healthy for me. what you got to do when you're in the what you kids call the anime, when you're in your Super Saiyan mode, just out here dominating your significant other, right? You're gonna have to bring your
Correct.
power level down. So what the tricks that you do is take a character, if possible. If the game is balanced, you're screwed, right? But if possible, take one of those weaker characters or somebody that you don't really use. You know, if it's a racing game, take the car with the handling that's whack and the lower top speed. Just take something out of the box. So you brought your power level down. You're still gonna competitively compete, but you're using something you don't normally use to kind of even out. It's like your little balance meter, right? You got to kind of even it out a little bit. So that's what I've done. It's been helpful. And then sometimes it's actually helpful because it actually makes me learn something else. And sometimes I'm like, yo, this thing that I never use is actually not that bad. And I still dominate, nothing you can do about that. But
yeah, that was my problem.
like, yeah,
Smash Ultimate, and you just pick a really ass character and you're still winning. You're like, fuck, man.
Yeah, at that point,
I can't.
yeah, it's like ain't nothing you can do. But it's a tough one because I know that feeling, and some people you date, they're competitive, but they're not good. So it depends. And there's some people they take the beats fine. They're like, yeah, all right, you got me, whatever. But all right, my trick, honestly, I'll tell you what the real thing. If you can't get out of it, the number one cog move is do a cooperative game together.
Yes, that's what I noticed in this write-in, that there's the words co-op and let her win. I'm like, those two don't go together. You win together.
Yes.
Not play against each other. That's always what I do, bro. Ever since I was a kid. I think that's why I like co-op games.
Same.
Because you know what would happen? And it's not like I'm filthy good at games, but like as a kid growing up, like I dominate people. You could see them kind of like pouting over the controller. You'd hear the tears start hitting the plastic a bit. You're like, oh damn, man, like this is gonna get awkward fast. You hear them getting pissed, and like it made me uncomfortable. I was like, I don't want to hear that. So I'm like, okay, what games can we play together? I just don't want to deal with it. And I think that's literally where my love of co-op came from. I just never want to deal with hearing people bitch if I'm winning, because then it doesn't feel good.
It doesn't feel good.
Games it doesn't bring out the competitive environment in me, at least. Like sports do, but games, I was like, nah, like I'm not. Like if I'm beating your butt, unless I really just am loving watching you suffer, like one of my friends at a fighting game, it's like, yeah, like I want man tears on the
yes. Now you got to learn today.
But if it's your beloved Eugene, co-op, as Cog said, right?
Yeah,
co-op.
It Takes Two. What is it? A No Way Out. EA got some great ones. So it's like we build together, get it going.
Yeah, don't do what I did. The first time Laylee came over my house when we first started dating, right? We had a bunch of games to pick from, and my enthusiast ass is like, I want to have her play BioShock first. Like, what was I thinking, dude? What? That's not a tone. Has anyone played the intro of BioShock when like the dude's getting stabbed outside the it's freaky as hell, and I'm like watching it, I'm thinking it's cool as hell, and you can tell she's just like, hey, this is kind of creepy. I'm just like,
he's crazy.
Yeah, I know, right? And then she was on, she's like, I'm not really feeling this one. I was like, okay, like how about Persona 5? She's like, oh, I really like this. So it worked out, right?
Nice.
But fortunately, she was transparent with me and didn't think I was some type of psychopath firing up little BioShock.
Love it.
So you're right ahead of me, Eugene. Keep it up.
No doubt.
All right, let's get into the news. I forgot to mention this earlier, but if you're new here, you want to help out the show, patreon.com/laststandmedia, get early access to this show each and every Thursday. You can also get us for free on Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, on the Last Stand Media YouTube channel. We're out every Sunday at 12 Eastern time, so we'll see you then wherever you choose to listen. We appreciate you supporting us. And do remember, those mobile reviews help, and we'll read some next week. All right. I wanted to begin with a big one, right? The amount of write-ins we got about this, of people disgusted by Phil Spencer for this particular topic. I had to kick off the show with it.
Let's go.
So let's start. Xbox was in talks to acquire Warner Bros. Interactive around the same time as Whining and Dining ZeniMax. Apparently, WB would not have allowed Xbox full IP control, which limited what Xbox could have done with their talent moving forward. Perhaps even more crazy, in this same email, it revealed that in 2020, Phil Spencer said it would be a career moment to acquire Nintendo, an acquisition he believes to be best for both parties. Quote, it's just taking a long time for Nintendo to see that their future exists off their own hardware. A long time, end quote. There was also mentioning of avoiding a hostile takeover of Nintendo. Wreck-It Roosh writes in, hello, gentlemen. I know COG is the most positive on Microsoft acquiring as much as possible. However, at some point, I assume you both have a line at which you say Microsoft has acquired enough studios. At what point is that for each of you? Obviously, I asked this in light of Phil Spencer's email leaks. For me personally, Bethesda, sure. Activision, I guess if they have to. Nintendo, get the fuck out of here. In my opinion, this would be a ninth circle of hell move by Microsoft. But to be fair, the ninth circle of hell was probably created specifically for Microsoft executives. This is the email that I think has not won Xbox any favors. Like this, when you hear the Monopoly bros out there, and you see them with their cash, the green, the red, the orange, and you think about Microsoft, this fortifies that argument. Let's be honest, right at the top. So COG, I want to dish it to you, not to put the pressure on you, but as Lord Acquisition, what is your answer to Microsoft having the desire, at least at some point, according to Phil, and we'll talk about what he had to say in response to all of these leaks when we get into the full news. This was old plans. We'll talk when the real plans are here. So in the last 3 years, it appears something changed in that maybe Nintendo it's not in their best interest to be off their own hardware in the future. So COG, what does Lord Acquisition have to say about the desire to purchase Nintendo after getting laughed out the room 20 years ago?
Let me hit you with the RVD, because that's me. This topic is all for me. I know what he's thinking about. Look, all right, let's get to it. This was very, very surprising, very, very interesting, right? Obviously, we know the history, the original OG Xbox and the DirectX team, you know, Bill Gates and the team, they're trying to get in the console business and they try to cozy up to Nintendo and they try to make the pitch, right? And it's just like, hey, we think it's our best interest. And Nintendo was like, if you don't get out this damn room with your foolishness, get out of here, right? And they got laughed out, right? So that was that. So, over the years, we do know, you have to admit, the Nintendo relationship has, especially during the tail end of the Reggie Fils-Aimé era, as well as the Doug Bowser era, they've been really cozy with Microsoft. We've seen games kind of go over to the platform. Was it Ori, I believe, went over there. We saw the whole, Smash Bros. And the Banjo, right? It's been cordial. But I think Xbox fans, if they look at it objectively, they would say it's been kind of one-sided where Nintendo's benefiting. Whereas people are like, well, what IPs is Xbox getting? We're not seeing that. And to me, I've looked at Nintendo as, which is very big for them, flirting with cloud. Flirting with, I remember playing, remember I told you this story of Control. I was like, why is Nintendo in this control room? Yeah, I can't even run this game. I'm there with Sam Lake. I'm there. I'm like, why is Reggie Fils-Aimé here? This is like an old E3 that I'm seeing Control behind the scenes debut for the first time on next generation hardware. And I knew the Switch couldn't run it. So I just thought it was interesting. But anyway, let's fast forward to this. So now we got Phil Spencer on record. What was it? During that whole FTC docket, I'm assuming 2020. And he's talking about the value of Nintendo. And he's talking about how, like, this would be a career move, right? And I got to be honest with you. I get it. Like, Monopoly Bros, I get it. Y'all like, see, this is it. Evil Empire. There you go. We told you. They trying to do it all. They try to do too much. This. We got to stop them. And this is all I'm going to say, right? First of all, as far as this is concerned, again, I got to hit y'all with the corporate cog, right? All companies and executives have that North Star. That sometimes it's an unachievable goal, but you have to set it. You can't be like, okay, yo, my goal is to get ABK, and then, bro, we done. We did it. We did it, company. We did it. It's over. We ain't got to do nothing no more. We've reached. That's not how corporations go. So there's always going to be some goal. It's the same thing like, for example, Disney and the MCU, right? At one point, like, yo, we want this to be the biggest superhero, blah, 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 right? We want to get all our properties back, right? They eventually get Fox. That was a huge one, right? They acquire Fox, and then you get all that infusion and yada, 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 right? So all I'm saying is this. I get it. The pushback is real. But what I'm saying is, just because you aspire for something doesn't mean it's going to happen, right? That is, look, I could aspire to have 1 million followers on YouTube. I don't have it. I got to put in the work, right? So again, this is what he said. And to me, I gotta refer to what King said. It's like you don't have a lot of money, right? You watch a TV and you're like, man, you see, I'm just making up a fictional actress. You see Halle Berry on screen. I'm like, damn, I want to marry her. But you live, with your mother in a one-bedroom apartment. You could aspire all you want. It don't mean you going to get it. And here's the second thing. This is the most important thing. I'm joking. But here's the most important thing, because I know everybody's like, see, we got proof. We got your man outside. He's aspiring. That's what he wants. Now, the thing I have to say as far as this is that just because you want something, the second party has to agree to be acquired and marry you, right? That's the key part. So we can aspire all you want. So with the acquisitions part, if we look at it objectively, ZeniMax fell down on their hard luck. Here comes Microsoft to swoop in, Captain, Saver. Well, we ain't gonna use that term here, but you know what I'm saying? But right, to come in, save the day. They always come through strategically to try to do something when you're at your lowest moment. And that's all I see here. I see a relationship that is growing. I don't necessarily see the partnership, but I will say if Nintendo does fall on hard times and someone needs to bail them out, Microsoft will be there. And the last thing, and this is just realistic now. This is now selfish tech cog. I'm gonna be honest. We got to be brutally honest now. If you own a Switch, I own a Switch. I'm in their ecosystem. If you're not going to tell me that they hold infrastructure without messaging, without party chat, without you can't even message someone. If you're on my friends list, it's a glorified stalker list. I just see what you're doing. I can't talk to you. I can't do anything, right? So you meaning to tell me objectively, forget ownership, let's just say partnership, they don't need help with their whack Nintendo Online and they're terrible. Bro, they to play Splatoon, I had to hook up 2 phones, cable and a wire. Come on. So I think he's being honest about, they need our info. I think that's true. I don't think there's no lies there as far as that. Now, again, as far as acquisition, that's a whole nother story, right? And I don't know about that part. And also Nintendo would have to want to be acquired, which if we gonna get into revenue and all that, they don't need Microsoft right now for what? So that's where I'm at with it. But I know this is a good question. I get it, Monopoly Bros, you're gonna come at me, and that's fair. That's fair. I'm not gonna push back on that but too much. But I just wanted to get you my perspective on this joint.
Very well said. I think I sit in a little bit less of an understanding position than you, because I, as someone who was supportive of Microsoft's acquisitions of all these gaming companies, even Activision Blizzard, I was very, very surprised to see this in writing. I was like, I saw it. I was like, I literally mouthed to myself. I was like, you fucking serious? Nintendo, even 3 years ago, the fact that in the realm of a decade, even during the Wii U era, the fact that it was even a thought blows my mind. I don't know, outside of a partnership, what Nintendo gets out of marching to the beat of someone else's drum, right? If they get all the online perks, look, like PlayStation worked out an Azure deal with Microsoft, or I'm sorry, I should say Sony worked out an Azure deal with Microsoft at one point. So these competitors will work together. And if PlayStation may need that help, then it wouldn't surprise me if Nintendo eventually needs that. And I agree with Cog on the front of some type of online upgrade would be fantastic. But this kind of sparked to me a smidge of concern. Okay, I never really agreed with the, arms folded bros in the comments going, well, if you put half as much effort into making your own games as you did buying games, you wouldn't be in this spot. Miss me with that energy. But I get you here. This is where is definitely a line draw moment. Look, you can go get a major publisher with the biggest IP in gaming in Call of Duty. I'm cool with it. You can go get Bethesda, which they define in another email as more core product, right? Less broad, which with Fallout and Elder Scrolls, I'm like, what is he talking about? At times, I don't know what I'm reading. But Nintendo? Dude. I get the idea of a North Star, but your North Star should be the number one gaming platform. Let's beat out Nintendo. Let's fucking buy them off the market. You know what I'm saying?
In the 2030 document.
Yeah, just To me, I saw that. I was kind of like disgusted by it. I know maybe Phil is trying to save face by saying, yeah, it's dated, man. Now you'll see the real plans. Maybe they've moved on from this perspective. I hope so, because this was when it was at the beginning of the acquisition season, right? Like they were the first to strike. Well, really, actually, PlayStation was with Insomniac, but Xbox was first to strike with a megaton kind of deal in ZeniMax. We did predict correctly that they were sniffing around Warner Bros. There was no doubt about that with the IP they have. So that seems like we were correct on that. So that's one of many victory laps this show. I'm just going to warn everyone.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely personally, I don't vilify Xbox. I think they're a great platform for the most part, but this to me, that gave me the ick. You know, it kind of it puts into perspective what I've been saying for a while to people, which is like, I like Phil. I think he's a great leader. There's a lot of leaked emails that show, for all his faults, he's ambitious and he's a really good leader. But like, it shows to me that like he does talk out both sides of his mouth a little bit. And so I wasn't a fan of this at all. Again, the fact that it was even a thought, it just kind of off-putting.
Question, and I totally respect your perspective, because I think I'm in the minority. Everyone completely, I think, agrees with you, and we're disgusted by this. I guess my question is, let's just say, next generation, we know currently they have like a Switch 2 that's supposed to be the equivalent of maybe PlayStation 4, Xbox One with DLSS and all this other stuff. Let's just say they bomb and we have Wii U Part 2. They change the form factor. They get too Nintendo and they get too cute, right? And they don't stick to the Switch thing. I guess my question to everybody, and it's not really attacking for you, I just is like, what happens when someone falls on hard times and they want to be acquired? Like that's my question. And I guess that's always been my perspective. It's kind of like, I get how ugly it sounds, right? Because it sounds like tendrils, here comes the Borg. I get it. I understand the aesthetics. All I'm saying is, what happens? We're seeing, as we're going to talk about the news, what's going on with Embracer, right? We're seeing where companies, they chest is out, and then in a blink of an eye, next couple of years, they're out of here. So that's all I'm saying. Like, how do we process that if Nintendo now has hard times and then they're about to go in the industry? Do we still say stick it out on your own, don't get acquired, be independent, and you can't pay your bills and you're, you know what I mean? That's just my pushback.
Yeah, I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment right now with Switch too much. I get where you're coming from. For me, I think if you can survive the Wii U era, and we'll go over the numbers in a little bit of Nintendo's profit margin, which even before this, I would have said, I think Nintendo would never need to sell out. They have Pokemon. Pokemon's the #1 highest grossing IP on planet Earth. Like, they could run that and just keep going. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, as much as actually I thought that game was a significant improvement from other Pokemon games, it was a technical disaster, and it sold more than pretty much any recent Pokemon game. Like, it was insane. Nintendo can weather literally any storm. And maybe that's a quality them and Xbox share, if you can survive a whole year without a fucking major game coming out. So they're credit to these two for being a little similar in their grit, but I just feel like that's never going to happen. And I don't know what position Microsoft would ever find Nintendo in to be able to acquire them. Partnership, though, I will not back down on that. I'm with you on that. I don't want you to leave you hanging there. Game Pass. I've talked about the exchange of games, like even like Mario and Rabbids. I know it's a Mario game, but with Rabbids, it's a Ubisoft published game. It's a tactical kind of RPG. I just feel like that would be a fun fit on Xbox. I think games like Astral Chain, getting them over to Xbox.
God, please.
I think maybe Ultimate Alliance 3. That's a little bit of a dreamer one, but like I just feel there's a lot of opportunity in the partnership both ways. Absolutely. Right? You get access to that Rare Vault. Maybe Nintendo pulls something off. And then, of course, you talked about the online components. There's definitely a benefit to a clear benefit to a partnership there. The cloud tech with Nintendo going more into streaming. Yeah, I just want to make sure you're not alone. 100% back you on that. Acquisition talk.
That's what you draw the line.
Bad Phil.
Fair enough. No, and I get it. I get. That's the only difference we have there. But I do think that we are in complete alignment, that you don't have to acquire everything, right? And you can partner and you can have these fruitful things where it's like, okay, I give you this, you give me this, similar to how Sony and Xbox, for all this talk, they did partner, right? For all this, people are fear, they partner. And I think that kind of makes people more comfortable because they still kind of represent, keep their entities and stuff like that. And that's fine too. I'm not, listen, Lord Acquisition is not opposed to partnerships. I love partnerships. Sometimes, what's the expression, Colin, is you got the milk at home or whatever. You don't have to, like, I get it. Like, so yeah, we're definitely in alignment there. There's no problem.
Well, that was a good one to open things up with. Certainly the rest of the show is packed with more and more emails. This one, I want to kind of pose it, Cog, where like you get one, I get one. To just open things up, right? Because like I wanted you to have your moment. I gotta have my moment here.
I know you got bars.
I don't know if I actually do. To tell you the truth, like I kind of cooled off afterwards. But
you chilling now? You chilling?
Yeah. An email from Matt Booty has revealed that Starfield was originally slated for November 2021 as a last-gen game.
Wow, I remember someone's video that I knew was a very popular YouTuber that said this, and he got dragged. But it turns out he seemed to be right. I'm sorry.
We'll talk. Redfall was to appear on PlayStation, and Hi-Fi Rush was actually set to be a multi-platform game. Meanwhile, Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo were permanent console exclusives at the time before the Bethesda acquisition. So that just shows you how business was going. Interesting to see Xbox decide to lock down Hi-Fi Rush. I think that was a wise choice on their part. And Redfall to PlayStation, well, PlayStation dodged a bullet on that, right?
That's You're lucky on that one.
I do want to talk a little bit about Starfield in 2021 because
let's get to that.
We have had multiple moments. That's why I'm like cool in my victory lap, because we have had Todd say it was supposed to come out much earlier. We've had Phil say it was supposed to come out much earlier. It being Starfield, by the way, for those who don't know the subject. We never got an actual date, an actual window. In 2020, I started reporting that Starfield was a late 2021, early 2022 game. That was the internal target. And I carried that reporting into the top of 2021. I actually looked up like old tweets, old videos, just to check myself. Like,
absolutely.
What was I putting out there at the time? Am I just remembering my own version of this reality? And no, that's what I was putting out. That's what I was saying. In 2020, I said that originally it was going to be a 2020 game. The pandemic, which Todd's gone on record as saying, affected the development of the game. It moved it back, and then it was a fall 2021 game, early 2022 game. Obviously, we know what happened. It got significantly delayed because Phil said in an interview that Todd and the team said they needed more time. And I'm glad they gave it to him, because if they launched it in November of 2021, it would have been another disaster. Absolutely. But I do want to say that after a lot of journalists came out, and no one necessarily named me. So that's why I don't really take personal offense, because I know Jeff Grubb was saying the same thing. I know Skolzy, another Bethesda YouTuber, was saying the same thing. There were a ton of people, both journalists, YouTubers, insiders, who were saying the same thing. And then out of nowhere, there was this big surge of, who, like Schreier and people from GameSpot and people from IGN. This was never the plan. It was always going to be 2022. The game's just hit alpha, and the internal target was always November of 2021. Right. And what bugs me is a lot of the because I saw Schreier did respond to someone, and he said, well, I was talking about people who said in 2021 when the game was coming out 2021, which I can't lie. I rolled my eyes a little bit. I was like, damn, bro, you can't.
Semantics, just own it. Just own it.
It's always like with anybody, it's a little something. And that's where I kind of just shrugged my shoulders. I was like, all right, because you know what? There's no use trying to get blood from a stone. And I look at that type of stuff, and you know what just upsets me is, like, if you ever need any type of proof that gaming higher ups can be almost cult-like, look at that. There was an immediate wipe of truthful information. There was by just numbers alone and just outweighing and volume of people, there was a reassessment of what the truth was, and this has been the truth the whole time. But no one's reevaluating that. I'm not, look, I get it. Like, I made my mistakes. I get it. Like, I'm not asking anyone for any sort of apology or anything, but like, I have not seen anyone go like, yo, I got this one wrong. Wow. Or wow. You don't even have to say it like that. You don't got to eat crow. You can be like, oh, wow, this is way earlier than what I had heard. Or I don't know. I'm not even talking about Schreier, by the way. I'm just talking about anybody who was in on that. It was disappointing, man. It really was, because what I had to deal with was, like, anytime I did have information was like, bro, people were fucking ruthless to me. Bro, and I can live with it. This is my job. I know what comes with the territory. I know everyone who is trying to provide the truth and value to the information. I know they've been through the same things. We've all been there. But it sucks when you're on the receiving end of that, and when there's vindication, it's very silent.
Oh, bro.
It sucks. So, it's just one of those things I had to champion a little bit, not to give myself too many pats on the back. I'm sure I'll inevitably have a mistake coming, but this to me was like one of my big mistakes. Like I was beating the drum pretty hard. I did always give room for, hey, early 2022 may happen. That ended up being wrong, by the way, because they pushed it to late 2022, and we know how much further it got delayed once more. But this was one that did follow me. Like when I reported about Forza Motorsport, I was like, it's coming out in October. People were like, what the fuck does he know? When I talk about KOTOR Remake, the fuck does he know? I had to deal with any type of information I ever got that I knew was fucking ironclad. Still, this thing followed me. And what's sad is it, and the reason I say all this is like the internet makes up its mind, and now that's just forever set in stone. Like there's outside of just continuing to try to be accurate and do my job, there's very little that can be done about it. And it sucks, but I'm not trying to pose like a victim. Again, I don't really care in the sense like I'm still hurting from it or anything like that. But I'm going to make it known that this was not wrong by me. That much I'm going to do just by right for myself. I don't expect others to do right by me, but I'll do right by me here and just clear the record up.
No, I want to definitely give you flowers on this because I remember this very specifically. This
is one of our first interactions, actually. I think when I put out an apology saying I got it wrong. I tried to own it. I was like, look, I feel bad. Like I misled people.
Yeah. And to see you, first of all, the beautiful thing about the way you handle it was even though you were right, you still took accountability in the moment. And that's my thing with the culture. And again, I saw some feedback from last week's, Duke and on me and stuff like that. And, it's getting fanboys. This is what I pull out messy cog on occasion. I don't like to do it a lot because I don't like to engage it, but I wanted to have fun and I want to do it in a funny way. But the thing that I hate is one, the lie is more sensational than the truth, right? That's the first thing we notice in the business. And that comes with the territory.
Good line.
You know what I'm saying? But the second thing is the thing that really bothers me is, again, the lack of accountability from whether it be journalism or whether it be from the comment people, right? They will tear us down, attack our credibility, say all type of nasty, disgusting things about us, right? And the thing that I hate is that when we are validated in the moment, right? You never see the comment boy that says, yo, my bad on that one. Y'all was right, right? You'll see it from someone else that be like, yo, the Duke's got it right, on occasion. But the reality is the same people that had the vitriol to come at us and attack our credibility, attack our integrity, say all these things, when we are proven right, it's crickets, it's church mouth. You don't see these dudes. Let me tell you how bad it is. See, because I have a photographic memory. So I remember the people who said what they said, right? I don't get petty, but like say, for example, there was a couple examples. I've had this when I remember when it was, we had good intel that PlayStation was going to put their games, their first party on PC. We got dragged. You don't know what you're talking about. I believe we even had Grub or somebody on. I think Ran Grub, somebody we had on. And we were all confirming. We're like, yo, we're hearing this. And they were like, this would never happen. PlayStation would never do this, right? That was the talk. You guys are just trying to put your Xbox ecosystem onto us. We value, blah, blah, blah. I literally wrote down names. I was like, in the chat. I was like, And there was one who was extremely disrespectful, extremely nasty to me, all types of personal attacks. It was bad.
Really? Wow.
I'm just going to write it down. When it came out that day, I never rarely do it. This is the only time I said, where is this individual? Can you please come to the phone? How come this person stopped showing up in our live chats? Stop showing up, making comments. I see this person on other shows now. And that's the disgusting and sad part. No accountability. Again, I have the like you said, I have the internal satisfaction. You know what I'm saying? And I'm good with that. But I just hate in this era, no one can admit when they're wrong and have accountability. And I'm glad, you did say this because I remember, bro, I felt bad. I remember you put out that video and I remember all the vitriol. And then now it's like questioning everything Matty says. And, we can't, you know how these people are nasty, man. And that affects, at some level, it can affect you. But I love the way you handle it. And I love that you're validated. So this is great stuff.
People know I'm not, I jokingly get spicy on the show all the time. Like that's no secret. But if you can tell who I am, I'm not that person who's like, yo, fuck so-and-so. That's not the energy I have. So I hope it means something when I'm like, yo, this was, I felt wronged here by a lot of people. And, you know, it was just disappointing how it all went down, because it does follow you. But I've never been a leaker or an insider. So that's why it was easier for me to live with. I don't really give a shit, because it's like, as I've always said, I think information's power. If I got something to share, I'm going to share it. You can take it or leave it. That was what I got from all of that situation. I was like, okay, you're not going to believe me. Guess who's going to follow up and remind you when I'm right? And that's what I did on the show. Just anytime I got something right, I was here to follow up and just be like, this is what I said, even down to Starfield's release window. So,
no, you're right, bro. You was on fire with that. This is good to see it. We feel vindicated for our boy.
There's a couple of quotes that we have from Phil Spencer and whatnot that we're going to actually end up going through that.
Yeah, let's get it.
We were talking about is like, this is going to be a show of like 8 victory laps, or, you know, as we joke, but really just a lot of vindication. I don't want anyone to think we're stroking our ego here, although I know inevitably for some it'll be received that way. But just remember Cog's words. When you're in our line of work, you see a lot of people say a lot of things about you, and that's part of it. We've always accepted that. But as Cog said, it's crickets when it's time for like, damn, they got that right too. Yeah. And you're going to see a lot of that. If you've been a consistent listener to this show, there are going to be things that the head of Xbox says that they should be doing, specifically with their vacancy, the content gap in 2022, and what some of y'all were telling us about late 2021. Prepare. I'm warning you, we're a couple stories away. It's going to be a victory lap unlike anything else, because it's going to be like reading our podcast script.
Yes.
It's insane. So we'll get there.
Let's get it.
Next up, we have Phil Spencer's genuine reaction to the PS5 console reveal. I thought this one was pretty funny. He says, even as I type this, I know I shouldn't, but I can't help myself. We've all lived with 7 years of starting off a generation with a price and performance and messaging disadvantage to PS4 with Xbox One. I have to admit, this morning when I woke up knowing the PS5 reveal was today, that the stress level was higher than normal. Now, after almost 12 hours of soaking in their unveil, taking apart their specs, and looking at the community responses, I just want to say I'm proud of our team. We have a better product than Sony does, not just on hardware, but equally important on the software platform and services on top of the hardware. We have the ingredients of a winning plan. I felt the feedback from the BOD discussion on being too confident, and maybe this is just going to reinforce that perception. I get the need to be humbly confident, but today was a good day for us. We haven't won anything, and I know we have hard discussions about pricing, P&L, investments, etc. This mail isn't trying to scoop any of that. Those discussions really matter, but we can take confidence in our product truth here. Sorry, the text is really small. And I do believe any conversation needs to start with believing in that. Today was a good day for Xbox. Thanks for indulging me, Phil. So, Cog, what do you make of this? We got a write in here from Deuces Bruh. Hey guys. Do the leaks show Phil Spencer will basically say anything to get in the public's good graces? I'm thinking to the Kind of Funny interview when he says that they knew they couldn't out-console Sony, but then his emails were waxing poetic to his boss about how much better their product is. This is so good. You just wrote paragraphs to your boss only to have him send a 2-sentence response back kind of day. Ben. Thank you, Ben, for writing it. Because like Satya was like on the top reply, like, hey, Phil, this is great.
Yeah, funny. That is kind of hilarious. Trying to go for it.
God, what do you make of this confidence here at the start of the generation? Like, we got no games, but we got the better product.
Yeah, look, from the hardware reveal standpoint, I get it. You know, this was during the whole teraflop saga. This was during the whole Mark Cerny's reveal and the variable, I think the kind of the variable ramp up of the PlayStation 5. And then I remember, you know, the secret sauce, so to speak, was the SSD, right? Everybody's like, yo, we got a super fast SSD. And then Microsoft's whole thing was velocity architecture and smart delivery, yada, yada, yada. So I understand the hardware pop off. I do. It's like, all right, we got them at 5. We feel we got the better box at the time. Again, I got to put myself in the time capsule. I remember all the talk. Again, not saying none of this came to fruition. Not saying that this is 100%, but the talk at the time was Xbox waited. They had the special deal with AMD. They got the RDNA 2 architecture that's superior and this strategic weight. So from a hardware standpoint, they were popping off. And the other thing they were popping off was that they were like, okay, we got the S as the low end. So it's like we could come through. And to their point, I don't know if we have that in the our notes. Do we have the thing with the splits on the Series S and the X? If not, I could just
Go for it.
briefly.
Go for
Yeah.
it. I'm
So
not sure what
briefly,
you're referring
apparently
to. So
there's so many bro, so many leaks this week.
yeah.
It's crazy. So apparently the splits, and I'll try to find it and get it to you as well, is that in a specific year, I believe it was 2022, when they looked at the splits of Series S and X sales, it was 70% S. Again, I'm not saying lifetime of the console X and S. I'm just saying in this particular vacuum, right? So that goes to show that their plan, as far as like, okay, most people, they lost the generation. That's why I don't feel it's 100% lack of truth. I understand what this guy's saying, but I'm just talking about in the moment from a hardware standpoint. Their vision was, we lost last generation. People already have a Switch and a PlayStation. So if they're gonna mess with us, they're not gonna go, excuse the language, all in, right? We're gonna tread our toe, dip our toe, and maybe get this little $300 machine, get in the Game Pass ecosystem, and then see what's going on. And that was their vision. So technically, the strategy is right now where I have to agree with my man. Who's my man? Deuces, right?
Yes, correct.
Now, where I gotta agree with my man, where I think that the pop off was not good, was that software. Because we all know you ain't launched with no Halo Infinite. You didn't really have no critical
EA
first party
Game Pass deal.
Yeah, like you had to make an EA deal. It was really spooky at that launch. So everything that they, from a hardware standpoint, but from the launch, Sony had them, because didn't they have
they had
Spider-Man?
So much. They had Miles Morales. They had Demon's Souls remake.
The
free Astro
That's
game.
It.
That was so good. No like, yeah,
Astro,
dude, you were a busy man over on that system.
Yeah, bro. It was Astro, bro. That Astro joint was fire.
So good.
And such a good showcase for the PlayStation, right?
So fun. They got to make another.
They got to make another one. Yeah, that game was amazing. It really showcased their tech. And that's where the L started. So yeah, that's nice hardware, no doubt. Yeah. But not on that. But yeah, I think it was fun.
Yeah, agreed. To Deuce's point, this is kind of what I've been saying for a while, that I think that interview, as I reflect on it more and more, I really do think the FTC case had a lot. I know there was emotion there, and Phil said there were some things he said that, again, I was feeling emotional. Maybe he wanted to take back, and I understand all of that. But I do think the FTC case has an influence on some of the talking points in his interviews, including that one. And I think you got to play victim. You got to play Sony better day in, day out. They're going to wipe the floor with us. Even in interviews like that, where you're answering the bell about Redfall, you got to do that. And we're seeing in real time the numbers for Starfield that, if you deliver apparently, according to Metacritic, not even an 11 out of 10 game, if you deliver a hype game that people are really looking forward to, we'll talk 10 million players later. Yeah, it's going to push some console sales. A lot of them, in fact.
I hate to interrupt, but
no, go for it.
This is when I don't want to say went at him, but when I said what I said to him, because my thing is, yes, it can, and Starfield is proving it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I think what he said, like, Phil's not stupid. Yeah. He knows that. They probably had internal metrics for Starfield on what that game would do before that interview even happened. And those expectations had to be so high that it would serve as a turning point for the generation.
And I was told recently, internally, that those metrics that you're talking about that were very high, they have already exceeded all those metrics that they already had. They're blown away at what's happening, is what I heard.
Yep. And so that when you have that versus the public Sony better play, and you see this type of confidence. I mean, this is what I'm talking about with Phil being a good leader. Like, I get, so you'll call it waxing poetic to your boss, but this is what I'm talking about. Like, confidence in the team. Like, we got a winning plan. Because you'll see when they fuck up, he's not a dick about it, but the way he puts it is great. But I thought this was interesting because many people don't remember the sort of you go first that was happening as we were waiting. We were very close to release date when both these consoles got revealed, and the Series S went first via a leak, and then Xbox pulled the trigger fully. You're right. And then PlayStation went, and it was like very much a who's going to go next.
Yeah, I forgot that annoying month upon month standoff and nobody's revealing.
So that's where so it shows us here that there was a lot of tension. There's a lot of like, what are they hiding? What are they doing? And when you see that and you soak it in and break it down, you're like, we're good. It's got to be a good feeling, right? Obviously, at the end of the day, I don't care how good it is. You didn't deliver games, man. Like, that's That's what we want at launch. And I'm sure they've heard us now. We'll talk about how they did. But I don't know if, I think people are seeing more and more. Phil is an exec. He is a gamer. He has clear love for Xbox. That much is undeniable. And I think that's pushing him to do things like, I want to buy Nintendo and these crazy galaxy brain things. But yeah, when you're a public face and you're representing the brand of Xbox, you might say some things to get into the public's good graces. No doubt about that. And that's what we've been saying here on this show for a while. Phil is no deity.
People, it's a business. People got to run a business, bro.
Yeah. Doesn't make it right, but now people are getting a bit of a reality check.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, here we go. Get ready for a victory lap, y'all. I'm just warning you now. Phil Spencer has a reaction here in an email from May 7th, 2022, suggesting that it was, as the Duke said, a shotgun blast in late 2021 being a mistake. Let's read. I love the subject of this email. It's just games.
Yeah. The subject is hilarious.
Subject games. Importance high. That's literally what it says.
That little red explanation point on the Outlook, bro.
Yeah. And you got all the higher ups tagged in this. You got Matt Booty, you got Jamie Letter, you got Sarah Bond, you got Tim Stewart. So yeah, you got everyone here.
Cinemax in there. It's all in there. Mm-hmm.
Here we go. With the news that Starfield is going to miss holiday, not broadly communicated yet, let Jamie manage that. Still not a ton of clarity on launch date of Redfall and Stalker 2 development so impacted by the war in Ukraine. I feel we are in a huge hole with our games lineup for both the platform marketing / differentiation and our Game Pass content. We keep talking about a bit of AAA a quarter in the service, and it feels like we are likely to go through a gap of almost 18 months between big exclusive launches on our platform. Halo Infinite being our last on December 8th, 2021. This really is a disaster situation for us, given all we've invested in content across studios at our Game Pass Content Fund. We need to learn from this and build a plan forward. Key sentences right there. Remember, this is coming from Phil.
Mm-hmm. Huge.
In terms of learning, I think we need to get much better at overall portfolio planning on our games with real honesty on dates. Doing this from memory, from summer 2021 through December 2021, we had an amazing lineup of games with Flight Sim to console, Psychonauts 2, Age 4, Forza Horizon 5, and Halo. There were good third-party games in that time frame as well, like Back 4 Blood. We set a very high bar in 2021 on quality and pacing of content, which was awesome to see. But to come off that year with no big exclusives launching in 2022 is a portfolio planning miss that we can't afford. If we need to delay launches, understanding there is a financial impact of that, to create more regular beats. I'm going to read that again. If we need to delay launches, understanding there is a financial impact of that to create more regular beats for us, we need to do that.
Talk your talk, man.
We need to do that, he says. God, can you believe? We need to do that. Okay, let's keep going. We have to all understand that the situation we are in now is a failure of our planning and production execution. Phil, I love you, bro. Thank you. Thank you for letting this slide through. Thank you, man. Because so many people are like, no, they got to keep it up. And what
it got to come out, bro.
No, Halo did not need to come out. This is what this says. Halo Infinite did not need to come out at the end of 2021. It was a mistake. And this is clearly being addressed because what have we talked about every Game Pass drop? Kind of light on games, but quality over quantity. It's spaced out a little bit more. That's strange. Certain things out of control, like it's pretty tight here in September because things like Lies of P got delayed from the summer into September. So things are a little bit out of their control there. But overall, pacing has been a big focus here. Now, Cog, this email continues.
Wait, before you go to the next
sorry. Go ahead.
We do got to give ourselves another victory lap.
Oh, there's more.
Remember, this was in the height of Forza Horizon 5's zeitgeist.
Yes.
And remember, we had people, even ourselves, playing Forza. Remember the numbers Forza Horizon was doing, right?
Yes.
And then I believe it was a seminar, like, we're going to drop the multiplayer beta, and then boom, here we go, Halo. And we were like, and then we got dragged. I never forget this. We got dragged because people were like, yo, they're still going to drop it. Forza's still popping. You don't need to rush this. And remember, it was feature missing.
Yeah.
Tons. Remember the split screen, the ray trace. It was like three major things that were not ready. And they told us, stop being selfish. It needs to come out now. Why delay? I remember the talk.
We talked. This was the birth of, like, when, ladies and gentlemen, when Cog and I say we're team delay, that like August, September, October was the birth of that. We're team delay. If you need more time, you got plenty happening. Wait, bro. Keep going. Sorry.
No, that was it. I forgot what team. That was the origin of hashtag team delay. You're absolutely right.
It's nice. It's
beautiful. And we just sat there and we're like, okay. And it started off cool. And we remember the wheels falling off of Halo Infinite very quickly. And once it came, we said, are you happy now? Are you happy with what's going on right now? And again, where's the accountability from these individuals? I don't see them. I've not seen one. Yo, you know what, y'all? Yeah, did have that one right. That's all. I just want to see one of them people.
This will be one. The reason we're going hard on this one, will be one I'll be surprised if no one writes in about, like, yo, you got that one right.
Yeah,
no one wrote about it in the Patreon, which I was like, okay, smaller pool. If I don't see any comments about it, I was like, I know y'all are out there. I know we were under fire.
Yes, my thing is stop hiding. Like, we can get tomatoes thrown, clips, all type
Feel
of
our pain.
Where's my apology, B? I don't need it, but I mean, it would be cool every now and then. All right, let's continue.
Well, this email gets pretty hilarious fast.
All right, it's gonna get fun now.
Unfortunately for Phil, he placed his bets in the wrong place as the email continues. Now let's roll up our sleeves and get planning on the next 2 years of games. First, we need to build an accurate list of new game launches that are coming in the next 24 months with expected dates. For now, I don't want to litter this list with content updates or seasons for existing games. We need launches. Let's build across this. First party, second party, and third party, looking at Game Pass launches. I think we are going to see that our next big new game launch is Redfall. He says in parentheses, hopefully.
Hopefully, though. He got the hopefully.
It's like his man was like...
You don't know. He wasn't sure. He was like, hopefully. We got to see what them dudes over there is doing at Austin.
Yeah, man. I really wonder if that... I don't want to read too deep into the hopefully, because, he claimed that they were kind of negligent of Redfall, and I wonder if he's saying, like, he saw something like, hopefully it pops off. I mean, shit, what I saw.
Hopefully does the note. You don't necessarily know for sure.
Yeah, right? I don't know. I actually thought that was pretty funny.
That is funny.
He says, I'm not aware of the Stalker 2 dates, but I saw the studio delayed indefinitely. Are there other games we can get? I know the overall portfolio is fairly light from third party, but let's dig. We also need to get some clarity on our eternal launch dates. I'm setting this now as I feel real pressure for Tamarind and how we are going to show up in terms of dates. It will be very obvious to the community with both our lack of updates in so many games and lack of clarity on almost everything in the show that we are out of position. I need us to work this as leaders. We've dealt with difficult situations before. We'll do it again. I'm frustrated by where we are, but we'll get through that. Most important is building a winning plan. Let's get on that. Phil. Juicy. Cog, any extra thoughts on what's been sent here from Phil?
Yeah, this is actually really reassuring for me because I remember getting into an argument. I think it was with Jazz caught it. Shout out, I love you, Jazz. And
even Jazz is getting hit with a victory lap today.
Oh yeah, he gonna get his. He got so many victory laps. Like I can't even compete with Jazz on that. But I gotta take my few ones, that I do get from him.
Yeah.
And I remember, and I told people, I said, bro, this is a black eye on Xbox. I remember 2022. After we just talked about the 2021 shotgun blast, right? Then we come with 2022 and we go, okay, we're supposed to have Pentiment, Grounded, Redfall, Starfield. Big year, strong, right? There we go. And I remember when that news broke, not only was it Redfall delayed, it was the beloved Starfield. Bro, it tore me apart. Now, it was the right decision. The Duke said it was the right decision to delay. But we looked at their first party and go, oh, it's up to Pentiment and Grounded to save the day. No disrespect, Obsidian. No, we love you because you did your output. You was not expected to wear a cape that year. And, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just came out extra. Like, hey, we're the supporting heroes. We're here to help the Avengers. Yeah, you're the backup. At that point, we knew you wasn't coming with whatever. But and I told people, this is a black. We did a crossover con. I was like, this is a black eye. I said they cannot like this from a Game Pass revenue standpoint. This messes up everything. And to see him verbalize how critical and how terrible that was, and how they need to roll their sleeves up and they need to get it. My question is, what the hell is tamarind? What and what?
I don't know. I no clue what that is when I saw
I'm
it.
sending this as I feel real pressure for tamarind and how we are going to show up in terms of date. I love the date talk. Now I do got to push back on him on one thing. I love that he was like, we got to be more transparent. We got to get updates. We can't do regular little seasonal content. We need games. I love that. My only thing is, I think this did get them in trouble with, they were so concerned with the dates. Remember that year, they were like, they hit us with the 12 months. So that still was a mistake because, let's be honest, they didn't hit that target of remember, they was like, everything you see here in 2022, we're going to get. I was furious with that. But I understand the logic, but now I still have to say, hey, that was still a mistake because at the end of the day, you didn't even hit a lot of those targets for a lot of those games. So this is a rough time. I just love I have to give him this. And I know people are like, yo, he talks out the side about. I got to go by what I see. From what I see internally, you cannot say this man is not ambitious, and you cannot say this man is not at least transparent with how awful certain situations were. To see him verbalize
not bury how bad that was is good, because they still made money that year, which is kind of crazy, right? But the fact that he didn't shrug his shoulders and go like, well, we're profitable, so like they can fucking complain all they want, like a Game Pass. It's a good sign. Sorry, continue.
No, that's literally it. That's all I wanted to say. To verbalize that this is critical. This is, the difficult situation. He's frustrated. That's how I felt. And I'm like, this is inexcusable. This cannot happen. And like I said, hopefully we learn moving forward. But I just wanted to verbalize that.
Let's move on. Game Pass subs. Cog, you ready to talk money here? Money. Xbox is making lots of money. Game Pass subs play 14 hours more than non-Game Pass subs per month, and Game Pass subs spend $23 more than non-Game Pass subs per month, according to a leaked chart from Microsoft. Meanwhile, Xbox's accountability margin leaked and gives us the first real look into how profitable Xbox is as a brand. There's been much consternation about whether or not the platform actually makes money with what they give away on Game Pass, and Microsoft's continuation of hiding important figures in earnings reports. According to a breakdown from Tweaktown's Derek Strickland, Xbox Gaming has a 12% accountability margin for a 9-month period in fiscal year 22. Compared to other major players, Nintendo sits at a whopping 25%, while PlayStation has found itself at the bottom with 7%. So this does firm up. Xbox makes money. They are running a profitable operation. And it does seem to suggest that all of it pools together, like we had discussed, that it's like one spot may be bleeding more than another, but they all come together and factor in the revenue. This, again, is from Tweaktown, though. It's not to paste the blame on them, but they don't know how Xbox calculates their accountability margin. So it could be more, it could be less. We don't know for sure, but it still puts Xbox in a profitable area, and it puts them in the thick of things. They're not the leader, but they're not behind either, so to say. Right. And, this also supports why they probably will never, ever get Nintendo. But what do you make of this, Cog? We've heard a lot, particularly from our friend Cobra Commander.
Yeah, Cobra Commander's been outside with this one.
We're bleeding cash over here on the green side of things. This green is turning red. Yeah. And we see here that Xbox is making good money. So any thoughts on it, sir?
No, this is a good bit of data. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and say I'm some financial expert. I'm not going to sit there and say that conclusively every year upon year, this is how it is, because I'm not privy to that. But I can only look by this small vacuum, right? And the talk has always been, right, that they have to be bleeding money. This is unsustainable. This is not profitable. That has been the 3 talking points from everybody. I'm not just trying to pick on Cobra Commander. We love you, Colin. But I've heard this from multiple people, right? So in this vacuum, despite having less revenue, Xbox having less revenue and less consoles sold than PlayStation, they're making more profit. At the end of the day, again, this is why I always try to tell people, right? I am not a financial analyst. That's not my strength. But these are businesses. You do not engage in these practices if you are bleeding money. There has to be a visual. At some point, we're going to flip this and this is going to turn into this long-term profit. They're making the profit now. So again, this is when all this Phil is a liar. And I get it. I get the rhetoric and the talking points. This is what I remember him coming out. I remember him coming out and people say, yo, is this profit? Yes, we're profitable. Oh, he's lying. I remember the talk. So we got, again, it's a vacuum. I'm not going to say the entire business. I do not know. I can only look at the data that is presented to me. And all the talk was they were going to leave the console market. And obviously with the leaks, we're going to learn that ain't true either. So the beauty of these leaks is we do get to see under the hood just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. And yeah, to see Game Pass bringing in, what is it, like 2.8 or whatever on its own. This is not counting game sales. We're not counting DLC. We're not counting, we just talking about that Game Pass. Like it's a big deal.
Yeah,
this is why businessmen want to stay in business and do these. This is why Satya enabled Phil. You can't enable someone if you talk about the good of gaming and how much money are we making? This is what it comes down to, bro. These are corporations. They are here to make money. So I'm not going to get too crazy with the victory lap, but it does silence a lot of the FUD and the fear, uncertainty, doubt about, oh my God, how are they doing it? Here's a window. Here's a small bit of a window to see. So that's all I got to say. I ain't gonna get too crazy with this because I've always felt this and I didn't feel the need to defend it. But again, we're starting to get a little bit, because of this FTC stuff behind the hood.
The problem with me is the problem I had with the conversation was it was almost felt like, and I'm not talking about Colin when I'm saying this, by the way, I was just poking fun. I found some of the arguments to be in bad faith. Like Xbox must be bleeding cash. Game Pass should die. And I'm like, why do I care if Microsoft, one of the richest corporations on planet Earth, is making money? They're fine. Like if they're giving me fucking Starfield for free as part of my subscription, I would love for it to go on. But as Cog has said, and I'm echoing the same sentiment here, like if it ends tomorrow, I'm going to look back at all those games I got that I didn't pay a fucking dime for and go, okay, great, cool. That was a great era. I'm going to be sad it's going. I want it to sustain itself, but it's clear it's not hurting Xbox, and we know it's not hurting developers. Right. So, of course, there are better fits than others, right? Of course. But it's not hurting anybody now is what this tells me. This was during a dry-ass year.
Thank you for saying that.
Dry-ass year. So that margin could be higher, could be lower. I don't know. This year, it would be very interesting to see them probably get a bump. You'd have to think with Starfield, Forza. You'd have to think. But we also have to remember, like, we're in the more positive mindset now. There was a bit of doom and gloom in the first half of the year.
Absolutely. In fairness, it was that. But I'm glad you made the key point. This was during the drought, the great drought of no games. And to see them profitable, right? Again, you're not selling the consoles. You don't even have big games into the service. And you're still profitable. You're making more, because I was told many times, stop talking about revenue. Because I remember when they used to put out little revenue stuff and people were like, stop talking about revenue ain't profit, bro. Okay, here's profit. Now what? Yeah. We still talking about, we're worried about again, some people, not everyone, but some people come through with bad faith arguments because they just don't like a platform. And then to your point, last thing I'll say is Nintendo's outside in front of everybody. Just want to say Nintendo's out here.
Nintendo's just in a league of their own, bro.
You could get ahead with all that until these profits.
5%. I know it's just that window, but 25%.
5%. Nintendo is caking up.
I don't want to open this can of worms too much. Why do you make a PlayStation? Because I think this symbolizes why PlayStation's going in the direction they are. This is what we told people about. To afford those massive Spider-Man 2, the massive Horizon, the massive God of War, they need what Xbox has now, which is that bolstered live service stable. You need that type of stuff. But speaking of which, Cog, let's talk about a live service game that Phil, you... Man,
let's get it. Let's talk about it.
Was sitting there at the Infinity Gauntlet and didn't snap. He didn't snap. I don't know how you do that.
I can't wait for your thoughts on this.
I'm not even introduced to the subject. I want the audience to be totally surprised as we read this. I'm fine with Fallout 76 and PS Now. We have not allowed Minecraft to support PS Now, as we do see PS Now as competition to Xbox Game Pass and don't need to support their financial position with PS Now, which will just allow them to compete more effectively with the Xbox Game Pass. I want to pause there real quick and just point out, I love how these emails from Phil are written because they're always explaining shit as if no one knows. So for us, is like reading the leaks, I'm like, thanks for the context, Phil. This is great.
Awesome. I'm learning so much.
I don't know why I feel different about Fallout 76. So open to conversation here. In my view, Fallout 76 is in this interesting place. Obviously started rough. Team stays focused on improving and finding larger audience. Feels like we either need to see this thing getting to 10 million monthly active users across all platforms or decide to move on from it. And if you believe PS Now can support it gaining relevance, then I'm supportive. My point about sharing conversations about deals is I want our collective capability to negotiate with platforms to be realized. When Activision or EA comes to Xbox to push for better financials on our platform, they do not do this title by title. They come to us with their full slate and basically say they will hold back support for Xbox across the portfolio if we don't negotiate with their full portfolio. They do not allow us to say we'd like to support Call of Duty and Diablo and forget about Tony Hawk and Crash Bandicoot as an example. So I don't want any platform, Sony included, to be able to pick us apart title by title. We are one portfolio, and I want us to get better economics and support by other platforms based on the full weight of our portfolio, which is big now. So I'd like to see us being more collaborative in how we engage with other platforms. This was September 1st, 2021, so perhaps where the Switch push was made and all that fun stuff, right? But gotta air my grievances, man.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it. This is what I'm here for. Let's go.
I really give the teams a lot of credit for hanging with this one. I really do, for trying to find a way. But now in a post-Starfield world, you got to start looking at like, what resources can we shift around to get us to the next stage on, we'll talk Fallout remasters, Oblivion remaster remakes, Starfield DLC, Starfield 2, Elder Scrolls 6. There's all of these are in high fucking demand. I respect, even though I don't agree at all, someone who loves 76, but I see something like this and you cannot tell me it's not getting in the way. It's on the lower level of a live service game in the terms of engagement. I'm no doubt it makes money, but I think as a Fallout fan, I can't believe there are people who like this game because as much as the updates can improve from time to time, it's not even the quality, it's not even the damage they did. It's the triple monetization that they consistently fuck their players with monthly, with their seasonal content output, with their I'm trying to remember the live service terms for this. Well, they have an in-game shop. That's two. And then you do live service games. So it is
like expansions,
the board that they're seasonal battle pass kind of thing.
Battle pass. Okay. Yeah.
They do a battle pass. Thank you. Sorry. They do all three of these all together. And they charge for each of these. They do the subscription service.
Oh, they got the subscription service?
Oh, yeah.
Well, how much is it? $15 a month?
Yeah. It's more than Game Pass. It's as much as Game Pass.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wait, 76 has a subscription?
Yep, Fallout first.
Wow.
Yeah. And so this is what the game needs to stay alive. It is so dry on players that they need to take the existing base that clearly doesn't respect themselves enough to drop the game and bleed you dry to make it your only game because you've put so much money into it. You walking away from it, bro, you lose your fucking mind. You'd be like, I put like $500 into the game this month. And as much as I appreciate some of the new updates they've done, I think Atlantic City is like the last straw. I think if they don't nail that, if that's not the big boom they're looking for with the Fallout TV show, I think that's when they start to sunset. I know they said we got years of support planned, bro. This year for 76 has been dry. And they're saying in 21, they were thinking about like, maybe we move on from this thing. So I think it's got to be inevitable, especially when it's going to get in the way. Like, 10 million players for Starfield in, it's first month. Hey, how many are you trying to get? 76 each month. And you're getting what? I don't know, man. I know Phil always had the power to do this. That was something I've said for a while. I know Phil has the power to do this, but the fact that they've been talking about it, it's clear that it's clear it ended up getting some level of results, which is good. Yeah. But can it sustain those results?
Yeah, no, you good point. Look, I get DMs from Fallout 76 fans all the time about us. Like, Cog, you be going so hard against you, better go so hard. I mean, we have some evidence, right? That this is literally like, yo, if we don't get the 10 million active users, why are we doing this, right? Now, this is where it gets tricky because we do know God Howard and Phil Dominus Max is really a Spencer, our best friend. They're good. They're close. They're close. And we do know that on the God Howard watch, even though it wasn't God Howard Studio that made it, he took all the arrows, he took the slings, he took the tomatoes, right, for the horrific launch. So I do remember he was so distraught. This is like this came out that he went to Phil about what we should do, and Phil and them, I guess at that point, all right, you're doing your rebound strategy, you're trying to reform, rebuild. All right, let's get this thing in Game Pass, whatever. Now, the sad reality is this. I'm still looking. As of today, they are not even in the top 50 games played on Xbox, right? So on the platform, like they are
You think they're top 100?
Oh, I mean,
Because if you were
right
like
now,
wager a guess, because
if I have to wager a guess, maybe they hit 100, maybe. But bro, like, look at these games. That's you got Brawlhalla at number 50. You know what I'm saying? Like Smite and Magic. People are playing old Call of Duties. Like it's just Sims 4, like Call of the Wild, the Angler.
Yeah.
What's that? Like I don't even know what that is.
The hunting
But anyway,
game.
yeah, farming simulator. But you get my drift. But my point is just it's nowhere to be found. So the only justification, and I hate to say it, is that they must be having good numbers on PlayStation for this to continue, right?
Right.
There has to be. It almost reminds me of remember when we had what's the homie on? We had him on for Minecraft Legends. Excellent guy.
Oh,
Greg,
Craig
awesome.
Lay.
Right, Greg Lay. So Craig said he made some interesting points. Remember, he was like, hey, because we were like, yo, how's it gonna do? He was like, yo, don't forget, this is on Nintendo Switch, right? Don't forget, this is on. So it's got to be the other platforms where they are seeing this,
Yep.
right? And it balances it out. But I'm with you. Like, I would have moved on a long time ago. I feel your pain because I feel this is literally a direct development block to a new Fallout. This is just how I feel because of this insane commitment to it. And I get it, live service, but yeah, to me, it should have been gone. But they clearly had to meet some metric.
If I were to speak very matter of factly, it's like almost like a resource hog, but and I don't want to diminish the talent that's there, but
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
if you have a lot of talent that you need, right, you'd put them on your most important stuff. So is it almost more beneficial to have them on 76?
Right.
Like, do you gain anything by like, are they considered a lesser talent where it's like, you know what, you're working on 76, like I'm not going to have you work on the A-team stuff here. Like you're not going to work on Starfield DLC. You're not going to work on Elder Scrolls 6. Like, you'll help test bugs when the real teams. I don't know. Like I think about that stuff because like, let's be honest again, like even if you love 76, it's definitely at the bottom of the totem pole for all of the Bethesda games. Like it may generate revenue. I don't know how it couldn't generate revenue when you really look at like how many forms of monetization are in there. It's amazing. Like Avengers got so much shit for its monetization, but you look at 76, it's one of the worst models I've seen. Like it's just everywhere you go, there's something to pay for. Everywhere. You can play the game for free, but everywhere you go, it's like a new cosmetic offering, a new seasonal offer. It's
sounds like Destiny.
Maybe it's because I know. I was gonna say maybe it's because it's a live service game I'm close to. I see how heinous it is, but
yeah, Destiny got like 4 monetization models, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But speaking of Elder Scrolls 6, let's talk about that a bit. If there was any doubt, Elder Scrolls 6 will be a console PC exclusive for Xbox when it releases, according to newly released, not leaked, documents from the FTC. Jimmy Ver writes in, hey Dukes, with the recent news coming out of the Microsoft versus FTC case, revealing that Elder Scrolls 6 is confirmed to be Xbox console exclusive for now at least, is this surprising to you, or do you think Xbox has set a precedent with Starfield going forward? Have a how old will I be when ES6 launches kind of day? Thank you for writing in, Jimmy. And no one should be surprised.
Yeah.
Those are my thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, how many times we gonna go through this? like,
Yeah,
like
right.
I don't know what it is. Again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but it's just like, when Starfield does what it does, and the man literally says case by case basis, then we see Redfall. Remember the names, the PlayStation scratched off, so
Yeah,
to speak. We're seeing it, so it's just like, bro, like I don't understand. Like I think some people are still in this non-accepting phase that this is what it is. Like you own them, and you're going to bolster your service, and now we have proof of concept. Guess
yeah,
what? With Starfield,
yeah.
right? We see the success, we see what it's driving. So yeah, like not much else to add here, but like let's get on with the program. That this is the only there's only two that we'll talk about later that may have a little asterisk, and I'll say why. But yeah, this is what's gonna happen, y'all. So let's get ready.
Yeah, I look at it this way: if there's any question marks into Xbox's portfolio that you think like, hey, is this going to be exclusive or not? Put yourself in Phil's shoes, okay? And all you have to ask yourself is one question. Close your eyes and think about it with me. Will this benefit Xbox? If the answer is yes, it's going to be exclusive.
Okay.
That's it. That's it. Elder Scrolls 6, it's going to sell units. It's going to sell Game Pass. Yeah, we want that only here. We don't want to give you the option to have that.
Right.
PlayStation, Nintendo, you don't get that
Yeah.
because it benefits us. If they see something like 76, we just covered, oh, this thing's barely fucking treading water. Okay, yeah, we see them as a competitor, but I view things differently. Go on over there and see if you can find a lifeline. Elder Scrolls 6 will have a lifeline day one.
Yeah.
So there's no question marks there. It is going to be exclusive if all the confirmations have been not enough for people out there. And I there is a ton of Xbox heritage with Elder Scrolls. I'm not going to act like it's always been exclusive, but like one Arena, Daggerfall, PC games, 3 Morrowind, still Xbox exclusive. Oblivion started off as Xbox exclusive. Skyrim, the DLC was exclusive for a time period. Like there's always been a realm of exclusivity of Elder Scrolls and Xbox or PC.
Good point.
So yes, it did eventually come to PlayStation. I'm gonna sound kind of like,
no, let's keep it real.
Poking
no,
but y'all got you got the worst versions.
I remember that era.
Got the worst versions. There was no respect for you there. So it's like, I'm not saying to rub it in, but like this, there was clearly a priority, a preference, a working relationship, and a focus for this series. And so I think it fits. So I don't think it should be that much of a surprise. But I saw like comments online that were like, what? Like, how is this still surprising to you?
Yeah, I don't know. But you're absolutely right, because I remember it like it was yesterday. I had PS3, and those versions ran horrible.
Skyrim.
It made they were terrible on PlayStation. This whether it be the cell architecture, it just was not a good fit for them. So yeah, I remember that. So basically, it became the de facto home of Elder Scrolls because it didn't even perform well on the PS3.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about Starfield. Speaking of Bethesda Game Studios, Bethesda has announced that Starfield has surpassed 10 million players in just a few weeks after its launch. With that in mind, Starfield is Xbox's biggest launch in Europe ever for this generation, managing to even sneak ahead of the wildly successful Forza Horizon 5. Here is where Starfield ranks amongst 2023's biggest games in Europe. Number 1, Hogwarts Legacy. Number 2, Diablo 4. Number 3, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So these are like the 3 dominant games of the year, right? Pretty hard to reach those. 4, you got Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and then 5, you got Starfield. So right there in the mix of the biggest games of the year. 6 is Resident Evil 4 Remake. 7, Final Fantasy 16. By the way, that was a game that was confirmed to have met expectations for Square Enix this week. So I'm happy to hear that. Number 8, F1 23.
Wow.
Number 9, Dead Island 2. And number 10, NBA 2K 23. So, Cog, I almost feel like you got to break out the jacket again, man. 10 million play for, because here's the thing I saw, and we called it on the show. We know the disingenuous listeners can be there.
Oh yeah,
we already knew it was going to be like, well, 6 million ain't that much, but if it were 10 million, it only took us a week to get there. And it's going to keep going. These numbers are mirroring exactly what Forza Horizon 5 was doing. And in that sense, this is going to be an easy 30 million player count, if not more. It's going to break records for Bethesda Game Studios. It's going to continue to be the biggest launch, the quickest launch. It's going to continue to do a lot for them. And This is why we were celebrating last week. We're like, it's doing the impossible for them. It's turning around the generation. They just had their biggest launch in Europe. They're selling more consoles than ever in the UK. They're pushing units everywhere. They're seeing that Mr. 11 out of 10 can get the job done. So, again, just a cold, hard reminder for some people that Starfield's doing very well. Very well. And it deserves the success. I'm happy to see that despite the shit conversation online, I'm critical of the game, whether you like it or hate it.
Yeah.
I'm happy to see that they have Bethesda Game Studios a true success here.
Yeah. I mean, all I've just been doing is been humming all day. That's all I do. I just walk up to people and hum. Shout out to Enon. I was got correct pronunciation from last week. Enon Zer and Emil Pagliulo. You know, look, when that soundtrack hit, people feel something. Yeah. People feel something. And again, rocking strong as of right now. Number 2 most played Xbox game. That is such a deal. Let me tell you how big a deal that is. From a guy that plays Destiny, which is a live service game. I used to play this from Destiny 1. Bro, this is when COG was definitely Destiny fanboy. I used to ride or die for this game. I ain't gonna hold you, right? I was like, I don't care, it's flawed, but I love it, right? And I would look at that list, and this thing would be number 1, 2, or 3 in the mix with Call of Duty in its hey. And it's Destiny's like, what? We're here. What's up? So I always tell people, you may not like it. It may not be for you. And that's fine. And no one said the game's perfect. But the numbers don't lie. The success don't lie. And the only thing that bothers me, Matty, about this whole situation is the people who say they want Xbox to compete and they want them to be successful, right? And they can't even utter it out of their mouth to say, you know what? That's impressive. That's really cool what's going on. It's kudos to Xbox because as gamers, that's what you're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? And it's like when something is successful, like, yo, salute, man, that is huge. And that's why I got so much respect for Bethesda and the team because it's like, again, we have to remember, like people are trying to glaze over it. Remember the talk, Matty. If this game's not successful, Xbox is out of here. The pressure was on and they delivered 10 million fold as well as moving Game Pass subscriptions. And we see what's going on. We don't. Again, I just want people to be honest, give it up, even though you don't like it necessarily, may not be a favorite of the game or the platform, but just be honest. You know what? That's successful, y'all. We got to stop with the hating. Yo, they're having a moment. Let them rock, and that's all I want to see. And it's sad. Again, the theme of this show seemed to be accountability, right? You know what I'm saying? That's the theme. That's why I don't even argue. I just you can't get away from me, bro. You can't. You can sit here. I'm gonna be humming in your ear every week. I'm not gonna wear a suit, but you gonna recognize. You gonna bend the knee. It's not stopping. So I'm going to talk and I'm going to hum. And I'm done.
We still have so much to go through here, so let's keep rolling.
Let's keep rolling.
UK regulators, according to Tom Warren of The Verge, are likely to decide on Microsoft's Activision Blizzard deal next week. So, COG, this is it. This is it. The double whammy could be in effect if the deal's all nice and approved and we push it through and they finally own Activision Blizzard. And then you got Starfield in the mix. This COG, this could be your 0.5 out of 10 year, right?
This will be.
How are we feeling?
I'm a little nervous. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm nervous. Okay. I'm nervous. And as much as I stood on my square, and I still think it's gonna go through, I'm just worried that we're in, and I consider the 11th hour.
Yeah, it's been going on almost too long.
And it's just like, bro, we were told back, what was it, July?
Yeah.
Or something like
that.
Yeah,
remember when they said we need till October? I'm like, man, like, yo, we'll know in a month or two.
Yeah. And I'm like, yo, we still here. So again, I just worry again. Remember the unpredictable nature of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Is the political aspect. The posturing, and there's still a little bit of me that even though they've won, they beat the FTC, they always get Ubisoft involved, and I'm like, it's getting weird. And then I'm like, then it's like, I just worry that if politics are in play, they like, yo, we still gonna block this joint. We gonna move this to the 11th hour and then say no, and then ain't nothing they can do about it. Like, there's a part of me, the political part, that's like, yo, why is this still, going on and needs this amount of time? So, hopefully it's not that. But I will say, if it does, I just want this to be over regardless. And if it does go through, yes, I'm telling y'all right now, like, this is the one that will truly set it off for 2020. Losing track of my years. Until I had to look. Damn, that's bad.
Oof,
2024.
sense of time, man.
Bro, yeah, that's bad. That's when you're old.
No,
You lose track of years.
I'm considered young, and I have the same issue. Sense of time is shit.
Facts. So, like, 2024, this is a critical boost in the arm for them, especially with the momentum, right? We're seeing the Starfield. We're seeing Forza's about to come. Great top of the year so far, minus Redfall. And it's just like, bro, like, this sets off the cannons that keep the momentum. And I would love it to happen, for it to go through. And if it does, it would validate what I do see for them next year. But we'll see. We'll see. I am nervous. I'm not going to lie to you. I am a little nervous with this.
Yeah.
We'll see next week.
It's in God's hands, man. Lord, take the wheel.
Take the wheel. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen.
For their sake, I hope it goes through, because when you have as massive of a leak that they had because of this deal, like, there's been so much shit put out of them, right? Remember what we were saying when we were doing the Xbox versus FTC episode, and we're like, man, they're really putting it all out there. They must really want active. You think after this week, they're not like, bro, y'all better fucking approve it out of pity at this point. You better hit the yes button on this deal ASAP, because we have suffered. They are probably putting an extra prayer out there, a hope, a wish, whatever, that this deal gets approved. Because if they're like, it's actually still not happening, Microsoft, sorry, you cannot do this in the UK. And after all the consoles they've sold in the UK, like, things are looking up, and they're like, no siree, sorry. No, they're gonna be like, you're kidding me. After all that, we leaked our fucking Bethesda's plans, our plans for the next couple of years, everything out there. You've seen all the emails, all the scuttlebutt, and boom, no deal. I mean, it'll sting a lot for them.
Oh, that's a blow, because it's clear they don't want to do the divestiture and separate and not, do all these tricks to not include them. It's to their best interest that the UK is in. So I can see why they're bending over backwards to try to make this happen. But you're right. If this was to get blocked by them again, this is devastating to them, especially after all what happened so far. So
isn't it so funny that they beat the FTC in court, yet we now have seen an email of Phil pretty much saying, like, man, they just don't know they want us yet. And, like, talking about Nintendo, one of the major players, like,
you're right.
Isn't that crazy?
Optics is horrible. The only thing that saves them is, remember, if this was still in the court of the FTC, they finished with those leaks, right? Because it's like, you not trying to be a monopoly, or you see what I'm saying? Like, they gonna pull that. The only thing that saves them is CMA blocked it because of cloud. Yep. So it's like, again, common sense, legality says you ain't got an argument. They're gonna capitulate to your giving it to you. But again, politics. So I don't know.
Yeah. All right, we got a little bit of non-Xbox related. Well, actually, no, this is Xbox related. Apologies. Embracer Group has laid off staff at Crystal Dynamics. This is actually following Crystal saying we're fine. We've been unaffected by layoffs. They're not going to be impacted by layoffs. They have now been. This is related to Xbox because this is the team that's pretty much building Perfect Dark. And it's worrisome because last week we were talking about how I actually was just starting to buy COG's idea, like maybe they're just holding it for Xbox to come in after ABK and take Crystal off their hands. To see layoffs, this is part of the restructuring that Embracer is going through after missing out on that $2 billion deal where we talked about them shutting down Volition. Now these layoffs are happening here. One of their major studios that they just bought. You see, what's happening with Embracer Group is what people feared would happen with Xbox when they bought people, mass layoffs, restructuring years later. Fortunately, for the most part, we did cover a lot of layoffs. Like 343 was hit by them. A lot of the tech industry was hit by them. We did see some restructuring, but what Embracer is going through in the terms of like the games industry, man, like it's insane. Like we haven't seen something like this in a while. So this is what a lot of people were afraid of when Xbox started gobbling up companies, and that could still end up happening at some point down the stretch. But what do you make of this, COG? Crystal Dynamics losing some staff here. Does it impact Perfect Dark? And any thoughts beyond that?
Yeah, from what I saw briefly, I think it was like some PR, some marketing, some IT, people. It affected them. But yeah, this is where again, for the anti-acquisition group, totally understand. Totally understand and empathize with your fears when you see something like Embracer Group, right? You're like, yo, they're doing all this acquiring. What are they doing with them? It's clear that they can't sustain that. And now these studios, I remember we just went through. Was it how do I pronounce them? Violation? How do you pronounce them? I forget.
Volition?
Volition.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
there we go.
Sorry.
So
I was reading something about a upcoming story, so
nah, you good. So yeah, like yeah, this is really bad. And my only concern, I should say only, that's wrong. My concern as far as on the Xbox side is how does this affect Daryl Gallagher and his team, right? Or how closely impacted is that? Because we do know they have been sent and commissioned, so to speak, to work on Perfect Dark. So yeah, this is sad, and I don't like layoffs and people going away on any level, but it's clear as day. Embracer doesn't seem to have a plan when they did all these acquisitions, and now it feels like they're just holding on to their life as things are falling apart. So we'll see if ABK is finalized. We'll see
you think you're
what
gonna
happens.
strike that fast?
I think that ABK is really limiting them from doing other partnerships. They look, you
Yeah.
have to deal with the facts. I know people are anti me Lord acquisition. I'm just telling you the facts that they said they are not done. This is from Microsoft. They
Yeah.
said after ABK, don't think we're
Yeah, I just wonder if
stopping.
they'd let the whole year rock, but, like,
Right. But there's also a part, remember when we had Hogue Law on, that he's like, yo, they will be emboldened because, again, he told me, Cog, that on Defining Duke Ultimate, if it is not in that stratosphere of the billions and it's like millions and we're in that Bungie and lower whatever pocket, they're not under any scrutiny and investigation. Now, I know there was some recent comments by the FTC and Linda Khan saying that, hey, after all this right now, we're looking to be a little bit more proactive with those smaller deals that we've been ignoring.
mm.
So that's the new counterpunch to try to jump ahead of Microsoft of whatever. So we'll see how that goes. But the reality is, if you get a $1 billion deal approved, it's really going to be hard to stop anything else at that on a lower scale, right? Or on something smaller. It's the unprecedented nature of how big ABK is and when the pricing is. So yeah, I do think there is some truth to Microsoft being completely held up. They cannot do anything right now until that deal is closed. They still have to act like a separate entity. And to your point, they can't show strength. They got a fake strength. You know what's going on. Like, woe is us. We're little. We're third. We're this. We're that. Come on. We know what's going on.
Unity has predictably issued a statement following the catastrophic announcement of their Unity runtime fee over on Twitter. Here's what they write. Quote, we have heard you. We apologize for the confusion and angst wait, what? I think I may have had a typo here. We apologize for the confusion and angst the runtime fee policy we announced on Tuesday caused. We are listening, talking to our team members, community, customers, and partners, and we'll be making changes to the policy. We will share an update in the coming days. Thank you for your honest and critical feedback. End quote. Now, since then, one thing I saw that had happened, and we'll see what Unity has to say. We'll talk about that fully next week. One thing that I saw was that the developer of, I think it was Terraria, actually took money and started helping funding other smaller game engines. And they said
Oh,
that they're
wow.
sponsoring them monthly. And the
Wow.
only ask they have is to continue being good people, building powerful tools, helping make games. So now, like, I know it's just one instance of like a
Right.
team that's got the money to do so, but companies are starting to fund new engines. Like, this is going to get bad for Unity if that's something that starts to steamroll ahead and
Yeah.
other developers get involved. It's going to be awful for them. So
Mhm.
again, I expect some type of almost entirely full rollback from Unity because it's just going to be it's going to destroy their whole business. It will literally
Yeah.
end Unity as we know it if they just keep doing this.
Absolutely. I was very passionate about this because I'm glad we talked about it last week. I'm glad we continue to talk about it because again, I'm not minimizing people's fear of consolidation, but I don't feel people talk about this enough. And I feel like, this is an entry point for developers to really get in. Not You need competition in the games engine space, in the tool space, right? As much as I love Unreal Engine, I feel that there needs to be competition, and to see Unity come out and be so egregious. But one thing was funny about all of this. This thing reminded me of playing Starfield or Bethesda game. The community was literally like everyone disliked that. You know when you play the Bethesda,
Yeah.
literally, like devs, no one was on board with this, and the pushback was tremendous. So I feel that it's a good sign, because I was worried about homie. I forgot his the Riccatello, whatever his. I was worried that he was going to dig in on this because maybe they just had some financial.
There was a threat on his life. They literally called off like a town hall meeting
They
or something like that. Yeah, bro. I'm
There
not
was
surprised at all.
death threats.
Yeah.
I mean, again, gaming community, we never wanted to go there. Right?
No, we don't. But I'm just not surprised it happened when someone's
absolutely
livelihoods are at stake. Yeah, someone's gonna.
Bro, they were not playing. I've seen devs talking about, bro, we come January 1st, we delisting. Or I've seen it all. I was just like, yo, the dev community is not. Jeff Keighley made a statement. Like, it was crazy. And then the other thing is I've been talking behind the scenes, and PlayStation and Xbox was like, oh, who told us that we paying for that? Remember, developers, it's okay.
Yeah.
This is only going to impact a small subset of you guys. And don't worry, Game Pass, PlayStation, that's like you bring your homie to the club and be like, yo, drinks is on Matty. And Matty like, what you talk about, bro? Like, I'm just here for the LSM event. That's like all of us at LSM and Colin be like, drinks on Colin. What? I'm like, Cobra Commander, you got the LSM family here. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, it was that energy, bro. Like, that's wild.
Well, what's more wild is a lot of JRPGs coming to Xbox, COG. Let's do this in a little burst here. Eden Chronicles arrives on April 24th, 2023. Remember, this is a day one Game Pass game. I'm very excited for this one, but was not crazy about the trailer. It was dropping frames all over the place. Looked really, really rough. So a little concerned about our friends there.
I agree.
Unicorn Overlord is coming to Xbox. Don't let the name fool you. It's a strategy RPG. It's from Vanillaware. It's published by Atlas. I mean, you got something good cooking here, right? They did 13 Sentinels recently, so they make great games. It's definitely a triangle strategy moment here where we got a pretty whack name for a dope looking game. That's coming to Xbox though. And then the big one, I guess. Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth is releasing January 26th, 2024. Not Skywalker has the write-in. In Japanese, Ichiban roughly translates to number one.
Whoa, can you repeat that?
In Japanese, Ichiban, I'm doing this because I love you. In Japanese, Ichiban roughly translates to number one.
Let's go, Ichiban.
In greatness, his greatness returns. God, man. His greatness returns on January 26th, 2024. And he will likely be the only JRPG protagonist Xbox sees ride a Segway next year, at least as far as we know. Matty, will you be playing Yakuza 8 for Kiryu's sake? COG, how are you planning to balance your epic journey to Hawaii with your obligations to Tekken 8? Also releasing January 26th. It's a wonderful thing seeing Xbox not miss out on two huge Japanese titles to start the year. Oh, look how far we've come. Here's hoping TGS yields more surprises. Cheers, Aiden. Thank you, Aiden, for writing in. All right, this is your man, so I got to give it to you. You got a conundrum here. You got a date with two different women on the same day. Who are you picking?
All right. It may be hope. I'm never going to pull rank, but I had to pull rank right now on Define Duke. Namco, if you love me, if you care about me, I've been there from the arcade board. Harada-san, I've been there since the System 11 board in the arcade when everybody was playing Virtua Fighters, and I said, this game right here got potential. I was there when it was a PlayStation launch game, PS1, Bandai Namco band. If you want to be cool, thank you for the closer network test. But if you want to be cool, it would be nice to, Lord's Gaming could get this game because I really want to. I don't want to choose between two of my passions, my love. Y'all know how I feel about Ichiban. And I'm going to keep it real Yakuza faithful. Y'all not going to like me, but I think the future of the series is him and turn-based. No disrespect to Kiryu. I played, what you call it? I give man a man race, no name. Amazing. It's just, I get it. The traditional Yakuza beat 'em up. I get it, y'all. That's y'all choice. And y'all, that's y'all series. But they came for me, the casual. And they say, yo, how do we get this guy into Yakuza? And I said, oh, the perfect protagonist, the lovable idiot. Oh, the fun, the jokes. Turn-based on a cinematic level. Oh, let's go. And then let's bring in that other guy just so that we don't upset.
Okay, have your moment.
Shout out to my man Young Ye. We had him on. He'll be doing the English dub for what you call it. And then shout out my man Kaiji Tan. Awesome. I saw they got a picture together of them working out.
Yeah.
So it's new Kiryu, which I was like, that's dope. Bro, I need to play Infinite Wealth, unbothered. So Tekken, please, if you care about me, Namco, this is Cog begging.
You're allowed to beg. You're allowed to beg. This is very important.
Like, I've never got to take a code in my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I will put this out there. If you're listening, Namco, Cog is a block. Because I don't want to make that. These are two of my favorite games. Now, if it came down to it, it's Tekken. It's Tekken. I'll just blaze out Tekken like how I've been playing MK, but we'll get into it. But yeah, I don't want to make that choice. I really don't.
Yeah, I know I'm going to be wanting to. I have to try, after all the slander, I have to give Yakuza 8 a try and see what's cooking here. Trailer was pretty fun. I'm not a sucker like Aiden here who's like, oh, he's riding a Segway, bro. Stop. See, this is what's wrong with everyone right now in today's culture. They put something stupid in a game and you're like, oh, buy it. It's a Segway. It's relax. How's the combat? Did they figure out how to balance the fucking game like they did in the first one? Did they get rid of the grind? That's what I'm here for. That's what I want to know. So you ride your little Segways down the beach. I'll be paying attention to the balance of the game and seeing if I can have some fun. That's what's important to me. Now, I'm with Cog, though. I love Tekken. I don't love it as much as you. But for me, that is a series that, like, those are the fighters I stick with for a long while, right? Like, it's the series, right? Because something like Dragon Ball FighterZ, that's like a one-off, but I stayed with that for a long while. There's very other few fighters, like Mortal Kombat 11. I think I put like 50 hours in, and I kind of just moved on. I don't know how long I'm going to be playing MK1. I got it here. This weekend's pretty set with that, but Tekken's what I stick with, right? Like, it's just the feel, the animation. It's just, it looks so good, man. I've been excited for Tekken 8. Yeah, the new commentator. I've been excited for that since the first reveal. It's beautiful looking, man. It's just, that game does not deserve to be skipped. I couldn't do that to Tekken 8. So we'll see if, much like Cog, I could swing some backdoor deals here and see if we can get some codes going. But that's my only hope of playing both of these. I would love to, I do think of, in all seriousness, like with all the Yakuza games, the hype for them, I think of Retro Rebound. I want to like synchronize something there. Same with Tekken. I want to synchronize something there. So that'd be pretty fun. But otherwise, yeah, Yakuza Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, January 26, 2024, coming to Xbox. No word on any type of Game Pass deal yet. I don't think it's going to happen on like the exclusive next gen update that Like a Dragon got the first time around. Mm-hmm. Did you read the one? I think it was one of the leaked documents that happened where Sega signed so many recurring agreements for the next gen upgrade for Like a Dragon that they ended up like putting themselves in a bind legally, and that's why it took so long for them to support PlayStation.
Really?
Yeah. They like worked themselves into a corner because they had to sign so many contracts that they signed something that locked them in for longer than expected. Yeah, it was pretty funny.
That. Okay, no, that's what's up. But yeah, I'm excited, man. This is too. And then just really quickly, side note, if you go to your Xbox dashboard today, I did see a Tokyo Game Show segment discount for all, like, Yakuza Like a Dragon is 80% off, like Persona 5, 40% off. Like, all these Japanese games also, they're prepping something. And it'll be interesting. But I agree with you. I don't think
we'll be waking up to big news tomorrow for sure.
Yeah, we're definitely waking up to big. There's no doubt. I will say, Infinite, I'm with you. I don't think Infinite Wealth. I'll be shocked if Infinite Wealth is Game Pass day one. I think they're going to play what's working for Sega best. Out on retail, all platforms. Give it that 6 months, that year. Yeah. Then Game Pass on the back end, double up. And I think that's been working for both parties in this partnership with Sega. So that's my prediction. But hey, if you want to drop it in Game Pass, don't let me stop you. Don't let me stop you now.
We'll see what happens. Last on the JRPG list, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, exclusive to PS5, is only until May 29th, 2024. So just about like 3-ish months, Cog, given the release date. kind of short window all of a sudden. Do we think our our new CEO friend Kiryu wants to go worldwide, wants to go global a little sooner, maybe?
I mean, I saw those recent the Bloomberg articles on Square's financials. They're not good,
Yeah.
and they really now it's going back to the other pendulum that Final Fantasy, Forspoken, Avengers, all are did tremendous damage, and now the new CEO is now they're changing their whole tune on stuff.
I
So
want to focus on HD games, so I'm thinking
yeah,
that pixel art games.
yeah, that's the conservative. We both said this last week, I
Yeah,
believe. The conservative pick is Octo 2 or the Pixel remaster. I'm probably going to stay there because as much as look, the writing is on Xbox. I know it. I feel it's close. I will. I do feel Final Fantasy VII remake is close
yeah, it's
and
within
more
reach.
tangible. Right, it's tangible other because to see the PlayStation 5 announcement February date, and then we saw the verbiage back again
Mm-hmm.
that it ends on all platforms at May, whatever. But my gut tells me contractually Xbox might not be able to do that right now when it's still in the
Yeah.
mix. While it's like a Ghostwire Tokyo Deathloop, we know it could come, but
Mhm.
we got to play out the contract. So unless Square does something,
Mm.
you know what I'm saying? Because Phil made it a good point to say, hey, we didn't say we were working, they were going to make games for us. He said it. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see. But I'm going to stay conservative. But yes, it's getting closer as far as Final Fantasy VII. And my gut says it will come to the platform. And maybe my conservative pick is June, the direct, because right, May 29th, right?
I'm telling you, bro, that showcase is already shaping up, and we're way away from that.
When we know what hardware going to be there, we know
Yeah.
they're looking for a massive year, and what a way on the Xbox stage to be like, here comes Cloud and Tifa and the crew.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see.
Last one here, Cog. This one's more for you, as I hate to admit it, but someone who has not played this game. Titanfall 2 has received its first update in years. Now, IGN has a great article here that I'm going to read verbatim.
Yes, please.
I'll link it to you here, Cog, in our chat because I found it late. Breaking
Yes,
down
please.
why this is a big deal. So, first and foremost, there was matchmaking issues with the game. Those have been fixed on PC. However, according to IGN, they say Titanfall 2 has been riddled with issues for years, and its history of is littered with hacks, conspiracies, and hoaxes. While Respawn or publisher EA has yet to announce an update for Titanfall 2, the game is enjoying a healthy number of players on Steam. Yesterday, September 17th, Titanfall 2 hit a peak of 23,300 or 234 concurrent players. It is comfortably in Steam's top 100 most popular games right now. However, Titanfall 2's current surge may also have to do with deals, including Steam's 90% off sale, which ends on September 18th. Meanwhile, fans are wondering whether Respawn has a surprise or two up its sleeve. A Titanfall Easter egg was spotted within Apex Legends patch notes published last week. This Easter egg, which revolves around the Nessie mascot that originated in Titanfall, includes 3 numerical codes. Incoming transition, subject Nessie, and it's a series of numbers, 3 of them in a row. It didn't take long for fans to work out what the codes meant. They are Unix timestamps that correspond to the release dates of Titanfall, Titanfall 2, and Apex Legends, respectively. Fans dare not even whisper Titanfall 3, but there is renewed hope. Respawn is plotting something to do with the seemingly dormant franchise, but what? This summer, it emerged Respawn had worked on Titanfall 3 in earnest for 10 months before ditching it for Apex Legends. Mohammed Alavi, who became narrative lead designer of Titanfall 3 before it was cut, told the Burn Network that much work on the sequel had been done. While it seems unlikely Respawn is working on Titanfall 3 with Apex Legends doing so well, for comparison's sake, Apex Legends has a peak Steam concurrent count of 429,733 yesterday. Perhaps some Titanfall related content or even an event is set to drop in the Battle Royale. Meanwhile, Titanfall 2 fans are enjoying wall running online once again. Hog. This is all you, man. I know you've really championed this game. Have you hopped back into the mix with the update and so on? How are we feeling about this?
Yeah, I started to redownload. I didn't get a chance to play it, but I started to redownload because there was a lot of controversy in reference to like the hack and it was actually not safe to play Titanfall 2 prior to all of this. There was really some security risk and stuff. So to see them do this, fix that, have updates. Look, if you haven't played Titanfall 2, Matty,
I
this
know.
is the one. This is my Danganronpa to you. This is
Okay.
like, bro, you bugging. Like you have to play. This is Vince Sampella and the team letting Call of Duty know, oh, you thought we couldn't do this on our own? We made you. Let me show you how you revolutionize the genre. Let me show you what this wall running and platforming is on a pilot level. Let me show you when we got these Titans, these Transformers that go out, that it changes, it redefines the gameplay genre in FPS. Oh, by the way, our gunplay feels amazing. Oh, we have unique weapons like the Smart Pistol. Oh, our Titans got unique abilities where we could block bullets and do stuff. Like, and you could jump in and out the Titan and have him like you got your own little Optimus Prime working for you. Like this game. And then if you don't even like that mechanic, we got this amazing mode. If you love Titan so much, we could do Last Titan Standing. Then they got a Horde mode, Frontier mode. This game is amazing. But not only that, oh, you didn't like the first one? You thought we was just BS and we didn't really have a story? You thought we exo primaled you? Okay. Let me show you when it comes to world-class narrative, what we do, Call of Duty. And they had you care about this main character and the Titan BT. And this relationship is so awesome during the course of the campaign. It is literally one of the greatest campaigns ever made in FPS.
Wow.
I'm telling you right
Wow.
now.
From
Now
you?
remember,
Wow.
bro, I am telling you, I don't pop off a lot. But this is when I knew it was real. We talked about Entangled for Starfield, and we popped off. Do you know my Titanfall community came up and said, "Cog, how dare you?" He was like, "I get it. That mission was fire." He said, "Let's be clear who did that first and who did it on a better level." And I said, "All right, I got you. Calm down, Titanfall. You right. They did it first. Different, but still dope. They are the originators of Entangled. On a,
Okay.
bro, now, you see what I'm saying? Now, if we think about how we love Entangled.
Mm.
They did that. This is years ago.
Mm.
And it's on a fly level. I'm not gonna compare because I still think it's what Bethesda did and how they flipped it with all the characters on a narrative level was still impressive. And they had choice and consequence that Titanfall did have. But Titanfall is the OG. Matty, please, if you get a chance, got the 60 FPS. This game's beautiful. You got the frame rate boost. There's nothing gonna hold you back. Please play Titanfall 2.
I played some of the online. I haven't played the story. But I want to. It's right now. I'm not even trying to make excuses. Right now,
yeah, no, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, I just finished reviewing Phantom Liberty. I'll get into it in the what we're playing section more.
At some point, when things settle down. No, bro, you've been a beast. But yeah, at some point, I do because it is. And the only controversy about 2 was that some people feel some changes on the multiplayer. They liked it 1 a little better than 2. That's the only little controversy, but it's still an amazing game. But for you, the campaign, you got to. You're going to see Vince.
It's probably not even that long, right?
Bro, you knock it out probably like 10 to 12. It ain't nothing crazy. Maybe less than 10.
Well, that's longer than I thought. I thought it'd be like 5. But
no, I don't remember it being that short. Okay. I don't remember it being that short. But bro, it's very innovative. And you care.
People ride for the game, so
yeah, no, it's a travesty what happened because EA, how dare them put this side by side with the Battlefield 1 launch with a 2-month. You killed your own game.
I played a factor in that cock. I was over at Battlefield 1.
Battlefield 1. A lot of people were like, "Yo, Battlefield 1 looks dope." And it just literally ripped the momentum away. They shotgun blasted Titanfall 2, disrespected one of the greatest sequels, and people never forgave it. And then, this is where I love Vince, but I hate him. He's so good that he made Apex. And I'm like,
that was the perfect answer, right? On a corporate level, at least. And the game's great. I put a lot of time into Apex, but it's not.
Bro,
I would be more interested in a Titanfall 3.
I'm going to be real with you. I am such a Apex Legends hater because of how good it is.
I get it.
And I'm like, you killed.
Would you hold on now? Because this is a popular name, would you play an Apex Legends campaign? Like if it's because it's got all it's It's like dating a new girl who's got all the qualities of your old wife. You're like,
Bro,
she's got the same wall running, she's got the same
bro,
gunplay.
the way I feel about this is how you feel about Dishonored with Redfall.
That's
Like,
what I
how
was thinking of.
dare you put out this joint? The only thing is that this
good.
Redfall is hot. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, how dare you? You had the perfect and you're not gonna go back to this, and you're gonna chase a wave and make all this money and be successful. And damn it, they made Redfall hot, and I can't even combat. And I'm like, are we ever gonna get this thing? And it don't. It bothers me. The way you feel about Dishonored is how I feel about Titanfall, bro. I will go to war with anybody who tried to disrespect
You
Titanfall.
think with a newly reinvigorated single-player focused EA, do you think Titanfall 3? I feel like in this era, Titanfall 3's got a chance.
It does. I don't know why they're so scared of it. Just I think
the
it's
Star Wars project has to be the focus, right? The Star Wars FPS.
Yeah, then you got I mean, look, I get it. The Jedi's out here. Everything they're touching is gold right now.
Yeah.
But all you got to do is give my baby a chance to live with a release date that makes sense, and it's going to work. That's all I say.
Now it's time to talk about what games we are playing, Cog. We have a very diverse list this time around. You have more games than I, so fire away.
Yeah, man. So in the grind, it's actually more games I'm playing. That's probably the most games I've been playing in a while. So much going on. But it was time, man. So luckily, Starfield, I'm still rocking. We'll get into that. But Mortal Kombat, that early joint drop. So I had to see what's going on with Ed and the team. And I owe NetherRealm an apology.
Oh.
Yeah, I was popping off. I was talking a little reckless. And I had said on other platforms that when Tekken 8 came out and Unreal Engine 5 came out, I had said that there was nothing that anybody can do to compete with the graphical fidelity of this. It is leaps and bounds beyond anything anybody else is doing. I had also said that I don't care what Mortal Kombat doing because Tekken 8 was Tekken 8. So after further review, and now I got it in the house. And boy, I apologize. To the entire NetherRealm team. Now I will stand on my square that I feel Tekken 8. I had said Tekken 8 was here and everybody else is here. Right? It's more like this.
Oh, that close.
And after seeing the graphical bliss, I forgot what game you said. I think it was Baldur's Gate when you were talking about Baldur's Gate. And you said, "Cog, it's something about the way they express and they emote."
Yeah,
right.
Correct. It was that game.
Mortal Kombat has some of the best natural facial reactions, emoting, talking that looks borderline lifelike, even with the skin detail, the blemishes, the complexity. Like, not to get too racial, but it's like they are so good that like they have the pigmentation, they have the ethnicities of Asian people. Doesn't matter what race you are. This is a testament. I've never seen the tech that they're using to get different ethnicities with the authenticity and the facial expressions. I have never seen this, but I'm like, yo, that they are beating Tekken. Like, Tekken looks amazing. Now, when you come to pure graphics, who looks better model to model? Tekken. But when it comes to the whole production, the facial animations, Tekken ain't messing with them on backgrounds. I'm just going to put that right out.
Yeah, some of those stages looked really good.
Bro, where the gap gets crazy, and I've said this before, I've always bent the knee to them on this. When it comes to a NetherRealm story and having all the characters in on the thing, transitioning from the real time to the fighting, it's not even close. Like, the gap is widening. I don't. Now, Tekken said they revamping their story. I'm dying to see. But like, they're the OGs when it comes to just having cinematic endings for every character, no doubt. Namco was the pioneer, and no one surpassed them on extra content. But when it comes to a narrative, free-flowing story that involves every single character with like this is a movie. I'm getting Addict to play Mortal. He hates fighting games. He's like, yo, bro. I was like, yo, you can't miss this Mortal. I don't want to hear what you talk about. I said, Solve, get him the game. I don't care what we do. He playing. Because he got to see what greatness is. This is the pinnacle of what fighting games can be. And then they have this new system. Now, the cameo system is basically you have your fighters, and then the only negative is that you can only pick from a select roster of people who are the cameo fighter. That's like your tag team partner. So like Kano there's some characters who are in the cameo character, but they're not regular characters. Like Stryker, Kano, you can't play him by himself. So that
I like messing around with Stryker and MK9.
Yeah, with the bro, and they got unique moves. Sometimes they come out, they got a long distance attack. Sometimes they come out, they grab. Then they've removed the X-ray. Remember the X-ray move? Where So what they do is replace the X-ray with the cameo X-ray super. It's better though.
Okay. You scared me.
Yeah, they
I was like, whoa.
So it's X-ray, but with partner, and they doing stuff to get it is amazing. Cool. Fatalities of glory as ever. I beat it. I couldn't stop playing. I couldn't stop.
You beat the story.
Beat the whole thing. It's over.
How was it a follow up to Aftermath? I played that kind of prepare.
Okay, let me tell you. So. All right. First of all, you know how I feel about Aftermath.
Yeah.
Right. One of the greatest setups. The story's out from the origin. Liu Kang is now in control of the timelines. He has tried to make it where everyone now has an option of peace, and certain people's origin now has changed, right? And it's amazing to see how it's done. And you're like, now I'm not going to spoil, people play it, but what I will say is despite some best efforts, certain things are still happening. And that's all I'm going to say. So going into this, now as the story goes on, right? Fire. The setup to the climax and the reveal of what's happening. Fire. The last couple of stages as you get towards the final confrontation. Amazing.
Wow.
My only nitpick, because Aftermath, the bar was so high, is that when you get to this encounter and you defeat said entities, I was just like, I felt for all that work, I wanted a little bit more oomph on the vanquishing of said enemy entity. You understand what I'm saying? I felt Aftermath when we got to Chronica, right?
Yeah.
We like, yeah. And when you beat, you like, yeah. like because and the cinematics that happened right post, because you felt the stakes.
Got it.
So I just felt
not enough oomph. Almost.
Yeah, I just like, we should have did more for all of that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Okay, now, what they do, they're going to hit you with the MCU post-credit cinematic. Now, I forgot one key detail. The callbacks for Mortal Kombat fans had been glorious. Because if you stayed loyal to this series after Mortal Kombat 3, there was something called Deadly Alliance. There was something called, there were some names of
Mortal Deception.
Okay, you know it, right? If you've been loyal to this series, Ed Boon does some things that involve the names of those games in such an amazing callback way. You go, this is crazy.
That gets me excited because MK9, right? They did the reboot on 360 effectively.
Yeah.
You see in Armageddon the start of a fight, right? Mm-hmm. And in its intro, and then you see the end of it at the start of MK9, and it's like the end of one arc, but the beginning of another. And that sounds like they're kind of tapping into that sort of storytelling. Because MK9 story, it's still worth playing to this day. Yeah. Like that game story is like the amount of deaths, the amount of high stakes. That was so good.
That was Raiden with the thing, right? With the
he would like with the thing. It began with him just going, "Oh, it's nothing, Liu Kang." He was just brushing off what he saw.
We get more of that energy because again, like I'm not spoiling, but there's gonna be times when Liu Kang is questioned, like, "What you mean, fam?" And he gotta play double. How he goes, it is so well done.
I'm excited.
So well done. And some characters, new arcs are so cool that you go, oh
Right.
man.
I gotta ask one thing.
Okay, yeah.
I'm a Kung Lao main.
Okay, me too.
How
me
well
too.
represented am I here?
The
You don't have to spoil it.
I will say,
am I gonna be happy with my man?
I will say the start off, yes. The start off, yes. I'm too much of a fanboy of him like you that there are some things that I'm like, man, like I wish. But they do something towards the final two stages of the game that they've never done before in a Mortal Kombat story.
Mm.
And I will say, when they do this, you can have your moment. So I'm gonna leave it at that because they've never done anything like this before. And yeah, so I'll just leave it at that. But for the most part, I would say Kung Lao mains, you're gonna be in the beginning 60 to 75% satisfied. Some parts you're not gonna be too happy. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, you get some other things you can do. But I'll leave it at that because it's too spoiler. I'll have to spoil
no,
it.
we
I
don't want to
do
ruin
that.
the game. Yeah.
So yeah, look, it's amazing. After you the character models, the move lists, the combos.
Did you try sorry, I don't mean to,
No, please ask away.
Did you try the invasions mode? That looks really cool to me. Okay, what are your thoughts on that?
So invasions was cool. There's this new joint now where it's like you go to Johnny Cage's house.
Yeah, it's like a board game almost.
Yeah, it's like you're running around and it's like all these crazy little modifiers and things. But it's fun. It is fun.
I mean, like the challenge tower meets the crypt. Like it looked really cool.
Yes, it's very cool. I will say that now. Bad Mortal Kombat. Your monetization model is horrible, my guy.
Oh no, not again, bro. That was wrong with 11 was so good. And then you had the crypt that was just awful. And it was clearly geared towards monetization, man. See, that's where Tekken can just sprint ahead now. Because I think the one Achilles heel of modern MK has always been with 10, 11, and it sounds like 1. I want to hear what you have to say. Is this monetization? So what's wrong with this one?
Yeah, like, all right. So if you do the conquest or the invasion, I call it the Johnny Cage house mode. Like there's a currency that is in game that you do and you build, and you get these little silver dragon coins in game, which encourages a specific monetization model for playing the game. Okay, cool. That's fair.
Yeah.
But then they got some joint where it's like, yo, seasonal only cameo characters that you can buy like an expansion pass, and they got the classic MK2 suits. They got all the and you like paywall. Damn.
Oh.
Then they got suits, seasonal suit, and bro, they got the Kung Lao suit, bro. I'm about to spend my whole check, and I saw how much. I said, "This is about to be $39. I can't do this." I was like, "Bro, this $39." Like,
you just bought the game early access. Like that was more money too, right?
I'm like, how many dragon coins y'all want for this joint? And that's straight money. That's straight up go to the Microsoft
no way around it
and blow your check on this, and that's that. Wow. So again, on one hand, it's play the mode, and there is exclusive content for playing the game, and some of those are hot, but there are hot things that they want that bread, and I'm like, yeah, a little too much on that part. But look, overall, fantastic experience. Definitely worth playing. They are back in the biggest way. And yeah, I just got to try the online. Didn't mess with the online too much and kind of stuff.
King of the Hill is back, which I'm very excited about. That was another MK9 classic, man.
Yeah.
MK9 Injustice 1, King of the Hill.
Oh. Absolutely. So that's it. So
that was my secondary COD lobby, bro. Like that is where some shit talk happened, bro. Like when you're just sitting up top, who's next? Come on now. And when you get bodied off after all that shit talk.
It's vicious, bro. Yo, you're right. I missed that mode. And they got all that stuff. So I'm happy about that. The game I want to give a shout out, it's a little indie game.
Yeah, what is this?
All right, bro. So I was on Twitter, and you know how LSM fam, ILP fam, they know me. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? They like, Cobb, we know you don't like the Uncle Creepy, but we got something for you that we think you're going to like. All right, cool. So I see this little pixel art, little 2D game. It's called Fading Afternoon. Made by a very small team. I think it's called YEO or something like that. They feel like they're early access. It's currently only available on Steam right now. So ROG Ally guys, get on it. It does look like it's coming to Switch because if you see the control scheme on certain things, you see the Switch button layout. Like I'm like, oh, y'all coming to Switch. So bro, like this game really impressed me. So basically, you're like
this looks great.
Bro, this game is fire. So, all right, let's get out the bat. The control need a little work. It's a little clunky with the control, and that's going to take a while to get used to do basic things. So basically, you this little picture. It's like River City Ransom met Yakuza met what's that other game that this reminds me of? There's like a third game, but it is the most vicious, brutal.
Yeah, bro, he's shooting both ways. He's beating the life out.
Let me tell you right now. So you come out from jail. You did it. You almost. It's like serious. It's like serious Ichiban. You know what I'm saying? Like serious.
Okay.
Like he came home from jail. He's a Yakuza. Your OG beat you outside the thing, and it's like, look, this is all the stuff that's happened while you've been away. Now you also seem to be battling some type of deadly internal disease that your life expectancy looks like it's not going to make it.
Oh.
Now I'm going to tell you right now, Matty. This team, I don't know how they did it. They have the greatest animations I have ever seen in a 2D pixel art, animation wise, to the point where they you know how they know they popping off? When you're in your house, you have a suit jacket, your Yakuza suit jacket, whatever. You just taking your jacket off, putting it on your shoulder, putting your shades on, smoking the stick. Bro, the animation.
I'm watching, he just popped open an umbrella.
Bro, it is I'm gonna show you a video I took of me playing the game, and I want you to just look at these animations. I gotta send it to you right now. We're gonna break protocol because you got to see what this game is doing. Then the martial arts, the animations on they got. If you're a Steven Seagal fan, with disarming somebody, taking their knife, bringing them.
Steven Seagal growing up.
You gonna love. This is some Aikido. You can't look. I'm gonna send you 2 clips. Hold on. Here's clip 1 of me just looking at animations of basic stuff, just starting your day off. And it's a day-night cycle. So basically, there's a limited amount of things you can do as far as in the day. And then at night, you got to take the train and go back to your house. And it's about, bro, this little game, I got to support. The shout out to his name is at Shin Yeo. The name of the team.
He shaves.
Bro, you hit shave. The music is amazing also in this game. The music is it is
it's Jackie. Oh,
bro, look at the animations on this, bro. Look how I'm starting my day off. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see me pop it, like, bro, look what I come out. It's crazy. Then the second clip is me getting to the combat, right?
Oh, this music. Wow.
Bro, and the animation. Fading Afternoon. I am a fan. I am supporting y'all. Xbox, if y'all listening, please give him a Game Pass bag. I don't know if he's Unity. Somebody front the bill. But bro, he got something. He got something here, man. We got to support. I love this little game. I cannot stop playing. And it's perfect on portable. Perfect. Wow. Yeah. Go check him out. Wish listed. We got to support him. He's out there. So yeah, Shin Yeo. I think the name of the team, I'm gonna tell you the official name for everybody. The Start My Games, the logo is called By Yeo. His name is Yeo, I guess, but what's the name of the team? I guess they're calling themselves, I don't know. I guess it's.
I saw this in my recommended on just a side note, completely off topic.
Yes.
You know, our audience likes to make photoshops of us, and I just linked you one that was like beneath the reply.
Oh, believe the. I gotta link it to it.
It's a head swap of Cog and I on the Infinite Wealth.
Oh, yo, that's great. I just feed it. Oh, that's hilarious. I love. Astro.
Yes, Astro.
He does it again. All right. So the official developer is called Yeo. The publisher is also Yeo and Indie Arc. It's on Steam right now. Fading Afternoon. His name is Seiju. Is a middle-aged Yakuza recently released from prison, known as Gozuki. Also has cars, driving sequences and stuff like that. For all my old school Genesis heads, you remember a game called Technocop? It gives that kind of bloody, gritty energy. And he has the one power. It says, but one thing is his Yankee's not taken into account. He's getting old. And basically, it's a changing of the guard with the Yakuza system in this town.
Interesting.
Please check this game out. It's not perfect. Some
very
issues,
interesting discovery.
But I love this guy. I could not stop playing games. So that's my thing. And then, of course, I'm still doing still finishing up stuff with Starfield, doing things. Oh man, I'm rocking my second playthrough now. All of a sudden, it's great.
New Game Plus.
Yeah,
Okay.
New Game Plus.
Nice.
Bro, they set it up beautiful. So that's been my thing. But I've been playing a lot of games.
Nice. I have been playing 2 games, one brand new, one
I'm jealous.
one old. Yeah. So Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty and its 2.0 update.
Let's go.
This is the other one I had marked on my September calendar. I had circled. I was like, okay, this is one I'm very much looking forward to because I've always been a big defender of Cyberpunk 2077 since its launch. I thought the game was fantastic at launch. I didn't have I'm not gonna. I will give CD Projekt Red the smoke for the console version and the performance of the game, but as I've always said, I'm not going to pretend that your experience is mine. I'm not. And I had a good experience, not just in the terms of my opinion on the game, but my performance wasn't garbage. It just wasn't, which I know is hard to stomach for some people, but like I had a great time with the game through and through. I think it's still to this day one of the best RPGs you could play in that vanilla state, right? So Phantom Liberty comes in, about a 20-hour expansion, and on top of that, you got the new 2.0 update.
Okay.
And the comeback is complete. It is complete. This is so fucking good. So I will say this. I actually found the 2.0 update, which is free. You can play it by the time you listen to this. It'll be out. I found it more impressive, better than anything Phantom Liberty really offered. Like Phantom Liberty is more cyberpunk, great storytelling, tension. Idris Elba kills it, bro. Solomon Reed, like this dude swagged out sometimes.
String a bell. Let's go, Idris.
So cool. Great backstory. It's really focused on loyalty. He has a lot of great moments. And it's not like it's crazy with how star-studded this cast has become. And it's crazy how much screen time he gets. And it's crazy how much time Keanu gets as Johnny again. Like he's reflecting a lot. It's really a story about reflection, about mortality. Everyone's kind of facing that because obviously people know V is in the process of dying. She's got the relic in her. And this is her lifeline. This is what brings her into the story. Like, we have a solution for you to keep you alive, pretty much. You got to help us. And so it's this spy espionage expansion focused on helping the NUSA president. And it takes its time getting there. I like the slow, steady buildup. It's not a rip roaring at the gate. Like, I think Cyberpunk 2077 was a really fast start in a good way. I really liked how they built that prologue and everything around it. But Phantom Liberty takes it a little bit slower, not in a bad way. In one way, it was bad because they had you do like 3 gigs before you could proceed in the main story. I thought that was a little weird. But yeah, the story is phenomenal. Very character driven, very dialogue driven. What you may notice if you're weird like me, I don't know if I'm right or wrong on this, but I think like the Witcher writers handled V. And I say that because V speaks very medieval.
Really?
Like, she'll say things like, it's funny that X could be dead. Or I'm sorry, X is dead. Could be. Like very Yoda, like very medieval. And it happened time in, time out. And I'm just like, yo, why are you like, is this supposed to be streets? Like, I thought they captured the street talk really well in the Cyberpunk universe in the base game, like saying things like preem, choom, that kind of stuff, and kind of mixing in the slang.
Yes.
Gonk, all that shit that they throw in there. Like, I think they did a really good job. It's not lost here in Phantom Liberty, but I just feel, and I could be wrong because I don't know for sure, so I don't want to assume, but I just feel like a different set of writers handled V. And so this feels like a different V. Like, she's more funny. She's more la-di-da-di at times. And when she gets serious, it hits harder, but like, it has a different energy in certain moments, which I just think people need to be prepped for. It doesn't hurt the story. It's just, you'll notice these types of changes. I don't know if there's a term for it, but you know how there's always that very different feel from the base game to the expansion. And I feel like that leap in writing quality is like definitely there. But the character development is great. And fortunately, the story isn't too long. You can beat it in like 15-ish hours if you wanted to. So if you're looking to hop in quick and do that, go for it. But what I really want to talk about, by the way, Dogtown is a great area to explore. It's naturally incorporated into Night City. You don't got to start a new playthrough to get into it. I don't know if you have to get to a certain level to get into it.
Got it.
But you can go back and forth. You're not locked away in Dogtown. You can go back and forth. It's naturally incorporated into Night City. They did it really well. A really good job with it. It's this region that's controlled completely by gangs. Like the NCPD's trying to get in. They can't. Like, the gangs holding everything down.
Yeah, he's got it on lock.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like a complete deadlock in there with like all these gangs vying for power, and someone's trying to just pretty much blow a powder keg in there and like create some type of flow. And, obviously you'll help dictate those things. Anyway, Phantom Liberty may be quick, and you may think, oh, nice, like I can squeeze this in. Nope. Because that 2.0 update, you're going to play it and you're going to want to do new character because they have completely overhauled this game, man. They have done something fantastic, like legit game changer here. So 2.0 update, my favorite thing about it is the focus on cyberware. So in base Cyberpunk 2077, you find like a jacket, you put it on, those are your stats, right? You have plus health, plus intelligence, whatever. This now focuses entirely on cyberware. So what you wear is more decorative cosmetics. You get to swag out. You get to get chromed up.
Nice.
And what it does, we watched Edge Runners. So
yeah, absolutely.
You know how like when David's starting to really chrome up, he's losing himself a little bit? They got that now.
Oh,
so what's happening is you have a limit.
Sorry, please finish.
Yeah, sorry. You have a limit to the amount of cyberware you can log into yourself. And they have this thing called Edge Runner that lets you go past how much you could put in, but you're going to feel the consequences of that, right? It's so good. It's so good. And the way they tune the build crafting is like now what'll happen, Cog, is for example, you'll put a nervous system piece in and it'll say this is attuned to your intelligence stat. And so if your intelligence stat is 20, you'll get 0.5% here for health. And you'll multiply it by your stat and you'll get that health bonus, right? So you have to pay attention to not only things like that, but the effects they provide. So it's like this very unique sci-fi equipment system that you're balancing how much you can take on at the same time as what abilities you're going to have, what stats you're building into. They've overhauled the skill trees. So it's very much like Borderlands now. So you think of Borderlands where you have the 3 skill trees and they all kind of go up different paths. Think of that amongst 7, I think, attributes. So you're going to rebuild your character when you fire up. Like they're going to give you all your perk points back and be like, hey, we changed everything. Rebuild, retool. That's why I said like you got like I did it because I'm on a time constraint. But like if I'm a player, I'm going to be like, I'm just fucking starting over because like you got to refamiliarize yourself with the entire. It's a brand new game. It's a brand new game. Dope. And then the expansion adds a relic tree. So now I got this one cog. It's called, I think, vulnerability analytics. And there'll be like a diamond forming alongside someone's body. And if I keep shooting that, you're targeting a weak spot. So you're going to do more damage. And then when you hit them enough times there, they do a small EMP blast around them. There's one with the mantis blades where you can like teleport somewhere. There's a mono wire whip attack. There's launcher augmentations. Like they got so much here. And that's where the side content in Phantom Liberty kind of thrives too. So yeah, just this 2.0 update. They had car combat. They got quick hacks in the car so I can make cars that are chasing me just stop dead in their tracks. I can have cars sitting still in combat, floor it, and they're going to drive and run over one of their teammates. Like, what? There's just, dude, the game was already amazing in the terms of approaching an area, the level design. It's something I noticed when playing Starfield that I'm very critical of is like Starfield's level design to me, just not it. Like, it's good in the terms of, okay, like I'll put it this way. It's very one-dimensional. Like Starfield, if I'm doing stealth, I'm always creeping around the perimeter, right? But it's not like Cyberpunk where I'm in the vents. I'm hacking computers, terminals, cameras. I'm maybe blocking someone's vision so I can walk by them with a quick hack and get to the other room and choke someone out because that's the best way. There's so many ways to play the game. It's like this beautiful mix of first-person shooting and Watch Dogs. It's so good. And so going back to it, it really reminded me, like when I said it's like one of the best RPGs of the generation, like it has never been more true than right now with on a gameplay level, how replayable it is. And now they've even answered some of the bell here with more environmental skill checks, like using your strength to open up a doorway, using your technical ability to disable a mine that you wouldn't be able to get by, like little shortcuts through the environment and so on. It's fantastic, man. Like it's free, so it's worth a try, at least for the 2.0 update. I guarantee it'll get you into wanting to buy the expansion, which is $30. I think it's well worth it, especially if anything I said about the relic tree sounds like something you want.
Oh, no, absolutely. I did have a quick question. I'm sorry to interrupt you earlier. Was you said there's like trade-off, and I'm just thinking about edge runners. So the trade-off would be like, would you get into like a cyber psychosis kind of state if it's too much? Like, what's the negative traits of going too crazy
I
with the
never
stuff?
went that high because I was
Okay.
scared,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
I'm trying to remember. I want to say it's health related. Like if you use your cybernetics too much, you know, how like David started to bleed and whatnot, kind of like that, right?
Okay.
So I'm
Okay.
pretty sure it was health related. I'll have to double check on
Okay.
that, or
No,
maybe we
fair
can
enough.
look it up real quick. I apologize
No, you're
because
good.
I
You're good.
never. I was
Because
like,
you
well, I'm
erred
not
on the
because
side
there's
of
like a red
caution.
area
Yeah, you
clearly
I ain't
marked.
messing with that. Yeah.
Yeah, and exactly. I'm like, I don't need
Yeah.
that. I'm doing pretty good right now. So
Mhm.
yeah, man, the
Fair enough.
police system works. That's been completely overhauled. Again, that's
Nice.
part of the free update. Yeah, that's the thing, man. The 2.0 update just kind of puts a big shot in the arm for the whole game that I can't tell y'all like, oh, go pick up Phantom Liberty so willy-nilly because I know we got so much play to play right now. And I promise you, you're gonna be playing this and you're gonna be like, I kind of want to do a full run through.
It's going down.
It's going down. Yeah, it's gonna be
Going down.
so hard to avoid. So
Yeah. Yep,
yeah,
yep.
I reviewed that. It was a spectacular time. Full
Nice.
review on my channel. If anyone ever wants to check that out,
Gotta
support
check
your
it out.
boy. But
Gotcha.
yeah, that was where I spent a lot of my time here. I kind of pumped the brakes on Starfield a little bit because I had about a week with Phantom Liberty, give or take. So pretty good amount of time for that.
Nice. I love to hear it. That's great.
Yeah. So another great RPG this year. As if we didn't already have enough of those.
Man, that's games, boy. Mm-hmm.
It's like I wanted to play Liza P, and now I'm just like, holy.
Bro, same.
What do I do?
It's crazy right now. It's crazy.
I'm hearing like Liza P is a good, like for you, like a good. I'm not into FromSoft games. I kind of want to. I feel like
he trying to sell me. My writers are like, bro, you ain't like this one.
I heard the first half is like manageable. Like it's not this crunchy. Yeah, I feel like it'd be great for you, but I plan on giving it a try sometime this month.
Yeah.
I've also been playing Final Fantasy VIII.
Old school.
Yeah, I needed something like this because I've been getting so chewed up by the review cycle. I love my job. I don't want to come across something complaining. I'm very lucky to do what I do. But there is that feeling for me creeping in of like, I just want a little fucking agency on what I can play. And with everything going on, like right now we're at a high production clip for our game and Retro Rebound and my channel and Duke and all this shit. Like there's always something to do where I'm losing a little bit of game time for this stretch of the year. And so when I sit down to play, when it's always work related, like I'm not getting my just like, I want, you know what? Like I got time, like spread the wealth. I'm not getting enough of that. So I kind of like out of spite to myself, I'm like, I'm fucking playing Final Fantasy VIII. I don't give a shit. So I'm about 10 hours into it. And I wanted to do this one for Retro Rebound. It's been on the list for a long ass time. And we always do these fun Final Fantasy retrospectives. I'm at the end of disc 1 now for those who want to gauge the progress of the story there. And this one's known as the bad one, Cog, but I mean, I gotta say, like, I am really liking it. And this is coming from someone who likes 13, and me and Gene talked about it. We connected on that. I get where people's frustrations are because some of the systems of the Guardian Force and the implementation of it very convoluted, but like I'm digging it. Like I like the world a lot. This kind of like who's who, you know, I don't know shit about any of the characters right now, which I don't know if that'll end up being a positive or negative because, you know, could be I get to the end of the game and I know nothing still. But the world is so interesting because you're a student in this place called the Garden and you're a part of this group called Seeds and you go on these secret operations as part of Seed and like your first operation to test you was a war in like a region. And like what's happening is as you're doing these things, like there's a world building around you and you get to this communication tower and it plays a factor later in the story. Like everything you see, you start to realize, oh, this all has purpose. Like we're like, that wasn't just a mission. Here's content like that. There's a reason I saw that and it connects later in the story and so on. Very politically driven, very different though, and I think that's why I like it. Like it's funny. You look at older JRPGs, and many of them are very similar because they were coming out in a time where like SquareSoft was dominating, and so they had a winning formula. And you'd see a lot get in line with that and differentiate slightly. Obviously, you'd have the Tales of which like would separate itself a lot, and so on and so forth. But like Final Fantasy VIII, I get it. Following up 7, tough act to follow, but I don't know if I really agree with everyone's right now their hate of this game. I think the systems are kind of fun. Like I like the idea of getting this, like I'm just a normal human, but I can connect to the Guardian forces and which are like, think of summons in Final Fantasy 16, right? It's like your Quetzalcoatl, your, Ifrit, and so on and so forth. And I connect with them, and because I connect with them, I learn skills from them. And I like that because people know I love Lost Odyssey. In Lost Odyssey, you have the mortals, you have the immortals. And so the mortals, you get to link with the immortals because the immortals have lived for so long, they have this huge skill list, and the mortals can learn those skills. So you can make like really unique builds. And I get a lot of that energy here for Final Fantasy VIII. Like it's awesome. Like I really do like the gameplay. It's great because it's remastered. So I get to fast forward when I want. I get to strengthen when I want. That stuff is, I've always said, I love old Square Enix. That stuff's very necessary for their games. They weren't the most balanced.
Yes.
Weren't the most well-paced. They were built for a particular era, which I think is bygone now. So yeah, I don't want to hang on this one too long because I haven't finished it. I'm getting there though, but expect this on Retro Rebound soon. And yeah, I'm very much into what Final Fantasy VIII is, dude. Like I am surprised how much I'm liking it because I've been told time and time out, like, I know you're going to hate this game. It's not for you. And I'm okay. I'm going to go in with lower expectations. And it's definitely one of those, like, what are y'all talking about? Like, this isn't amazing. I'm not going to tell you like it's the best Final Fantasy, but this is fun. This is good. This is fun. This is different. Like when you go back to those older games, as I said, like they were all so similar, and JRPGs still to this day are kind of similar. It's like you got one from the 90s that's different than any of the others. That's pretty cool to say. Like, and I think the combat's better. And like, I love 9, but the combat's way better than 9. So I don't know, man. It's just, I have to say, I was very impressed with Final Fantasy VIII in some areas, especially the music.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what's up. I'm surprised by this.
But that's what we've been playing this week, Cog. Good week for both of us. And we're going to skip the warm-up questions this week. We're obviously, as those who have listened to the whole show, we're pretty deep into this. It's time to get into the news.
Yeah, the news, that.
All right, let's do it. Number 1. Xbox suffered the biggest leak in the company's 22-year history on the morning of September 19th, where its entire mid-gen and next-gen strategies leaked alongside a mountain of personal emails detailing potential plans still in place and even an entire schedule of games coming out from Bethesda. It has been reported by Bloomberg that this leak came from Microsoft's own hands when uploading documents to the FTC's website. Since then, Douglas Farrar, director of the FTC's Office of Public Affairs, claimed that the FTC was not behind this leak, with a confirmation coming from the court's judge soon after that Xbox did indeed leak all of this information themselves. Phil Spencer replied to all of this on Twitter saying the following, quote, "We've seen the conversation around old emails and documents. It is hard to see our team's work shared in this way because so much has changed and there's so much to be excited about right now and in the future. We will share the real plans when we are ready, end quote. It appears to be an attempt to save face from what has been a large exposure of Xbox's upcoming plans, but we will approach this as legitimate given the source of information being Xbox themselves. For starters, we will get into Bethesda, whose portfolio of games undoubtedly saved Xbox from what would have been a vacant year in 2023 for first party if left to their own devices. Do note this list is quite old, and we'll discuss how many release dates have shifted. Okay, here we go. Fiscal year 2020. Doom Eternal and DLC, The Elder Scrolls Online Greymoor, Fallout 76 Wastelanders, and Deathloop. Then, 2021. Starfield!
Oh, wow.
One more time for those in the back. Starfield.
What year was that?
2021, Cog.
That's crazy. That
wasn't happening, though.
That's crazy.
Elder Scrolls Online gets an expansion. Redfall, Doom Eternal DLC, Ghostwire Tokyo, Cog dressed for the occasion, Fallout Worlds, the expansion for Fallout 76, and Project Hibiki, which was Hi-Fi Rush, by the way. So we know how long that took. 2022, Indiana Jones game, Oblivion Remaster, Elder Scrolls Online expansion, and Starfield DLC. Notice that cadence there. So pretty much firming up Starfield DLC 2024. 2023, Doom Year Zero and DLC, Project Kestrel, Elder Scrolls Online expansion, Project Platinum. That's 2023. Then 24, the big one. The Elder Scrolls 6. Project Kestrel gets an expansion, licensed IP game, Fallout 3 remaster, Elder Scrolls Online expansion, Ghostwire Tokyo sequel.
Sorry.
Dishonored 3 and Doom Year Zero DLC. Cog, let's go straight to the write-ins here. Certainly we have a lot to sift through here. Magister DeVita writes in, good day, Dukes. Might I say how it warms my heart to hear Matty extol the wonders of his romance with Andreja. Truly, it has made my day the past 2 weeks of hearing it in a row. But enough about that. Let's talk about those Xbox leaks. It has happened, Matty. We're getting a Fallout 3 remaster. Might I say it's about time that we get some news in regards to such a thing happening. Just want to ask the Dukes, what would you like to see either brushed up or added to the game coming out? Personally, I hope they add some environmental storytelling to some of the scenery. There were plenty of blank buildings with no doors or windows that didn't have anything in them. Adding a couple of chairs or a creepy circle of teddy bears surrounding some stim packs would really liven up the place. In my humble opinion, of course. But I would love to hear if there's anything that either of you would like to add or subtract from the experience. This is the deep cut I was talking about when I said write-ins. You're interested because you think that Matty is bringing out Mr. Bethesda in honor of the good old Bethesda news, but you're let down after realizing he's just wearing his health is wealth glasses kind of day.
Wow, deep cut.
That is a deep cut. I used to put on a raspy voice and like a sports jacket and just act like Bethesda is like a greedy ass CEO. I'm like, why aren't you guys answering my emails? And I was doing shit like that.
Oh my God, it's hilarious.
Cog. I mean, obviously, I'm sorry, I gotta be a little selfish here. There's so much to go through, but I gotta get it off my chest. Otherwise, there will not be focus on this show.
Please do.
Gotta talk about the Fallout 3 remaster, man, because I've been telling everyone for so long. I was like, it's gotta happen. It'd be stupid for it not to happen. When you look at the remasters that Xbox is doing, I mean, no disrespect to my Age of Empires bros and sisters out there, okay? For I know it's very popular. I'm sorry I was not familiar with the game. But at the same time, if that can get a remaster in Age of Empires 2 and other Age of Empires titles, if Wasteland 1 can get remastered, you damn well better believe that Fallout 3 is going to get a fucking remaster. That is free money on the table there. Now, before I zip all over the place, I am extremely excited about this. But I want to actually talk about the Oblivion remaster, Cog. I want to talk about it because there was a leak that you and I covered here on Defining Duke. And it was described as an Unreal Engine 5 project hosting the original game where it would have updated visuals, but then the physics, the gameplay, all that stuff would remain unchanged and similar based off the base game running in Unreal Engine 5. I imagine that Fallout 3's remaster, if you're going to set a cadence here, because it's seemingly coming after Oblivion, you have to think that they're going to be using the same technology, right? And so I look at that and I think, well, I don't know if the gunplay in Fallout 3 is going to get overhauled, because what people don't know is it's very easy to look and go, like, I think I saw Jez say it, like, oh, I hope they give it Fallout 4's gunplay. But the reason that wouldn't work, not because I don't want it, I get where people are coming from. The reason that wouldn't work is just like New Vegas, the skills are attached to how the shooting is.
Yeah.
And when you fix that, now none of the leveling up has purpose. So I don't think they're going to fix it. And I know it's going to be a point of contention for some people, but I really don't think that type of stuff's changing. Visuals, I'm worried about the brushing up of visuals, Cog.
Really?
I know I'm sounding like very protective of my baby. I'm really trying not to be. I'm trying not to be. But there is that like green filter to Fallout 3 that I know, and the brown filter. I know people go, I argued with it at first too. I was like, no, this ain't it. This is ugly as hell. I do think the game can look better, like visually, objects in the world. But I worry when you update all that, like Fallout 4 is almost too pretty to me to be a Fallout game, right? Like it's very much like the bright blue skies. I'm like, dude, I get what you're trying to do here. Like the game was built around hope. So I get the idea. It's visually in tune with the theme. That's great. Smart design. But Fallout 3 is a very hopeless experience.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like we're living in the shit right now. This sucks. And I worry if you would some of that be lost visually in translation? I'm very excited about this, but naturally, the dead space in me is about to come out. Like I'm very,
I know.
I'm guarding this. Yeah, you've been through this before. So Cog, let's hear from the more well-reasoned individual. Naturally, I am fucking thrilled to be hearing this because I knew they were going to do it. just we'll talk release dates and all that stuff, because I think with the Fallout TV show, there's still a chance it comes out in 2024, because this could be a different team working on it. So it could still be in line for 2024. But just like, this is what I've been saying, man. Like, you can't just do the next gen update and 76 expansion and launch a TV show and call it a day. There's got to be something. And I think this could be it. But Cog, it's the well-reasoned one between the two of us. Of course, your thoughts, but what could Bethesda do better with Fallout 3?
All right, before we jump into that, I do want to talk about something. I'm going to get to it. I just want to talk about, obviously, the scale here of this leak. And I got to be honest, man. Like, look, there's two thought processes I have. And one is like, look, we're content creators, right? We know, like, this stuff, you know, there's something to be said about getting some information. You're like, wow, that's so cool, especially about something we really want, right? Like, you like, yo, it is confirmed what our thoughts are. And from that standpoint, there's an excitement, right? But I do want to be mindful of the human element here. And the only thing is that I do feel bad for the teams. I feel bad for Bethesda. I feel bad for Xbox, only because it's one thing to be like, yo, next year we know you're going to do this. It's another thing to have a whole roadmap. So like, there's a part of me that like would have loved to see your surprise in real time of seeing it announced. Fallout, like, yo, I see Matty go crazy when we really, because you knew when your heart it was coming, but to have that surprise element, right? There's a part of, now again, some of this stuff we knew, the Oblivion stuff we knew, we had things coming out there, but there's a lot of stuff we didn't know, right? So I just want to say, just honestly, like, I do feel for all the teams involved with a leak of this nature, this magnitude, because sometimes the context is lost. We still don't know. And then obviously some plans could change, but for the most part, we think this is going to happen because this looks as legitimate as you ever going to see, right? But now back to your question. Yeah, man, I was so happy for you. I was just like, bro, he's getting it. Like, he's getting his beloved baby with the treatment. And I'm sitting there like, yo, like the fact that they had it so early, you know, to me, distinct. I mean, not that early, but the fact that it was on that list of what was it, fiscal year 24,
Yes.
right? You know, to me, still denotes like, yo, this bad boy is coming, because everything just seems like about a year or two off, right?
Yeah, like this would be 26 probably,
Right.
if it actually got the very literal delay that we're seeing here.
Correct. And to see, I just got to be honest, like, Bethesda's out here showing they worth.
Yeah.
To me.
Look at all that content, bro. That's enough for the year for
bro. Starfield DLC, the next thing. The Elder Scrolls is continue rocking and rolling. Doom, bro. My little MVP has been this. You know how I feel about Tango.
I thought of you right away,
bro. I owe it my heart. I'm like, man, this deserves a sequel. They deserve another shot with a vision and the graphic. And now they can probably focus on one platform and just like, there's a part of me that's like, yo, I want Tango is my little gem, right? So I'm like, yo, I think they are amazing, right? So to see that, and you know me and you, like we both get, I get Oblivion, you get,
dude, we're all winning here.
We're winning. So to see Bethesda's list, I'm like, this is proving your acquisition worth. Like, we're not even talking about all of Xbox Game Studios yet. We just talking about them.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. But anyway, it's still licensed IP games are awesome. But back to your question, bro. I get what you're saying with the stylistic approach, right? You don't want them to change something that affects the grit, that affects what made you feel what you feel. And I just think this is Todd's baby. He ain't like, I got so much confidence, especially after the additions of Skyrim.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they really haven't, I don't feel like betrayed it. Like, I feel like it's always to its core. Now, you would be able to answer that better than me and be like, nah, Cog, there's some joints they did on the remaster I ain't really feel. You would have to tell me, because after a certain point, I just stopped buying. I can't keep buying Skyrim 5.
I would say the most significant one was probably Anniversary Edition, because they actually added tons of new content. Right. It was from the Creation Club. So it was just like a dump of like, hey, you're not buying this. So in you go.
Right. So my question to you is, do you feel with the Skyrim, they always stay true from their remaster standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, with Skyrim, there was they really just went. I think Skyrim, the origin of Skyrim remaster was they ported it to Xbox One and PS4 to test something for, I believe it was Fallout 4, and then the work was already halfway done, so they were like, okay, well let's go ahead and sell this now, right? And put some new bells and whistles on it. I think again, Anniversary Edition was more of an effort, like, okay, let's add content, let's figure that out. I think if it comes to Fallout 3, what I would expect is overhauled visuals and it turns into a platform. I think there's no coincidence that when we saw the leak of a Skyrim marketplace of some kind, seemingly inbound, I've said for a while, Starfield's going to get one. It's going to be kind of like Minecraft marketplace. People are going to make livings off this shit. There's going to be a Fallout one. There's going to be an Elder Scrolls one. They're going to be in all of their games. And I think the reason they're bringing them back is so that all of these can turn into literal content machines. Modders are going to feed it. They can bring console mods to Fallout 3. I mean, that's the type of shit that will bring it to the next level. If it's a part of that infrastructure, that double whammy of Creation Club and console mods, like that'll be all they need to attach to almost all these games to justify reselling it and justify people buying it again. Fallout 3 also on PC for a while until it got an update to remove it. Was attached to Games for Windows Live. So a lot of the modding scene was dead. The number one mod was just disabling that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a big problem. Like Fallout 3 needed a remaster for a while because the only way you could really play it on PC before this update was GOG. You have back compat PS3 players, of course. Fallout 3 on PS3, I have a video about it. It literally fucking sucks. Like, it's awful. It crashes all the time. It's terrible. So I love Fallout 3, but like it really did need a brush up. It really did. Like it's one of my favorite games of all time, but it outside of the 360 version, like it needed some help. It needed a second lease of life. And I think New Vegas should get the same treatment, by the way. I think that's inevitable. But they're going to pace it out. This is what they're going to do. Fallout 3 first, they're going to collect your money. They're going to hand Obsidian the keys to the castle. They'll give you a New Vegas remaster a couple of years after that. And you'll get your steady rollout of Fallout content. They're doing what I think they should have been doing all along. If this ends up playing out like I expected. And that means that we might be in for like steady, consistent Fallout experiences with Fallout 3 remaster, probably New Vegas remaster, Fallout 5 from Bethesda Game Studios, and then Fallout from Obsidian. If they do all that, my ass will be, I will be totally happy, Cog. I will no longer be miserable. I will no longer be complaining and whining. And bro, we talked about the show trailer leaking. Like that looks peak, bro. It's about to be good for me. It's about to be. I feel bad for people who aren't me because you see something else on this list, Cog.
Yes.
You know what? You mind holding things down for a moment here?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, please. Take a moment. You pick the direction. I'm gonna have my headphones on. You pick the direction you want to carry the conversation. Pick a game. Run with it.
I mean, I'll go for it. I mean, for me, obviously, the different project names are crazy. You know, to see that there's still so many, different projects that we still don't know. The license game, I'm very curious. License IP game, because it seems different, obviously, than Indiana Jones. So that's dope. But I gotta admit, like, again, I get Oblivion. Matty gets Fallout. But I can't front. Thanks to Matty, I had to learn about, after the Redfall debacle, who Arcane is. Why do people go so hard? And here, Addict also goes so hard for Corvo. And then playing Dishonored 3 was just like, bro. Oh, the flannel is out! The flannel is out! He told y'all! The flannel coming back. Y'all dudes just learning about it now. He been there day one. Talk your talk, man.
I don't want any of you celebrate with me right now. This is a Matty exclusive party. You do not get to be excited for Dishonored 3. Only I do. Only me. After the abuse I endured and as I slowly bent my knee to Redfall, Matty, you don't get it. This is an Arcane game for the dudes who didn't vibe with Dishonored. Matty, you don't get it. They need to go this direction. Okay, they need to go co-op. They need to go live service. Matty, Deathloop is not overrated. Matty, Deathloop is not the game that just started the descent of Arcane in the terms of quality. I don't want to hear a motherfucking peep out of any of y'all's mouths about, Dishonored 3. I want you to get in line at the store when it's launch day. I want you to buy the game, sit down, shut your mouth, and understand what you've been missing for a while, okay? You do not get to be excited. You get to learn. This is education in real time. That's what Dishonored 3 is for you. It is not a moment of excitement for you. It is a moment to learn. Me, I get to be excited. I replayed Dishonored 1 this year after Redfall. I had a great time. I remember what Arcane is truly capable of. And you know what? In all seriousness, this is what they deserve, man. This is what they deserve. The Xbox regime is here. They got money, and they're going to give us the Dishonored 3 of our dreams. I'm going full king on this one. I'm sorry. I'm going full king.
Let's go.
We are going to Dishonored 1 peak. Dishonored 2 even more peak. Dishonored, you think they're going to miss on this one, bro? Harvey Smith about to cook, bro. Let them do what they. This is going to be, I can't finish the sentence. I cannot wait. Bro, Dishonored 3.
Yo.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm so happy because they had this deep in their plans. This is post-acquisition because they knew, bro. They knew. Finish out Redfall. Here's what's next. And you know what's missing here?
What's missing?
You know what's missing here?
What's missing?
I don't see, and by the way, I think it's happening, but I don't see any Deathloop 2 here. I don't see any Deathloop.
Don't kick them when they down.
I see Deathloop in 2020, but it seems like, well, that's a bit risky. I don't know if we want to commit. We might want to go back to the Dishonored. Just reminding y'all who runs shit around here. And it's Corvo fucking Atano. All right? But I will be there for Deathloop 2 if it happens. I think it is happening because of the voice actor leak, but I had to get my flannel for that out.
No, you gotta listen.
That's the one you may have wondered, like, why is he so reserved for Fallout 3? I was saving my bars for that. You don't get to be excited with Dishonored 3. You do not.
Like how you told us we can't get.
No one does.
Listen, you've been on it. Listen, I gotta give you props. I gotta bend the knee. You know, one Duke to the other Duke. You've been preaching the good word. You've been telling people, bro, you're out here capping and y'all not even seeing full power. You're not seeing the levels of what this studio could do. And I remember it, you know, like it was yesterday. The Deathloop gang was very upset with you. And you were like, bro, that's cool. That's cute. But that ain't the peak level. And y'all don't understand. And you had to educate me. You were like, Cog, you discussed it with Redfall. Let me show you what this studio is really about. And I fired up that Deathloop. I mean, that Dishonored.
Yeah. Well, chill.
Yeah, sorry. That was a Freudian slip. And I fired up that Dishonored. And I said, oh. And I'm like, how the gameplay is so more sophisticated and so much more better in this old game than what I am currently playing right now. And I'm just like, oh, they got the essence of stealth and the whole, I don't know what you call that, steampunk, Victorian. I don't know what you call that
called
era.
The whale punk.
The whale punk. It is
pretty wild.
Outstanding. And I said, oh, okay. Yeah, this is the superior product. This is the gold tier, the standard. And I'm like, they need a new one of these. So to see this on this list was so refreshing and so cool. Again, sad about you guys didn't get a chance to reveal it at your own terms, because this would have been an E3 grown men crying moment.
Yeah, that's
like people. Come on, you come on stage and
I did not expect this in all seriousness.
This
like
is a
flannel off. This is not in my expectations. I thought it was done.
And to see whoever sat there, whether it be from Bethesda, and say, no, we got to go back to the core essence, and this can't die, and we can do it now under Microsoft. And I just wish they would have had their moment. That, you know what I'm saying? That's the only thing. But from a content creator, from people that we got to report to do, hey, people, y'all done snitched your own self out. So, I mean, we're going to talk about it, right? So from a content creator perspective, you're so relieved that it feels like Bethesda's back in the right direction. And I'm so pumped for them.
Player here.
Because, bro, look at this list. That's the last thing I'll say. You can look at this and say, yo, we are set. And we didn't even talk about Xbox Game Studios yet.
Activision.
So this is justifying the acquisition of ZeniMax. This right here. I'm just like, bravo. Yeah. I love what we're doing. This is what we talk about.
I have some thoughts on some other things here on this list.
Yes. Let's go.
So Project Kestrel stands out to me. I was thinking about this a little bit more. I wish I got it in my video, but I thought about it afterwards. It's just the nature of creating content, I suppose. Of course. ZeniMax Online has been working on a new game for a while. And the reason I think it's this Project Kestrel is because if you look at the cadence here of this title release schedule, you'll see Elder Scrolls Online Greymoor, Elder Scrolls Online expansion. You see they're counting on an expansion. And then there's Project Kestrel. And Project Kestrel is the only one that a following year later gets Project Kestrel expansion, which says to me that's the new MMO. So I don't know. Kestrel is a bird. So I don't know what that means. We don't know if it's a new IP. There was the rumors at one point that they were doing, I think, a Mandalorian kind of game. That's where the licensed IP game comes in. We're like, what is that?
What's that?
I think that's the Roundhouse Studios game because there was a rumor that they were making a PvPvE game with the Marvel license.
Oh.
And I find it interesting that you have Indiana Jones game that's listed clear as day. Yes. But licensed IP game, like that's the internal, and that's still not even Marvel game, right? Thanks. Like it's just guarded closely. So those stood out to me, Cog, as things here that my Bethesda expertise could shine a bit.
Yeah, I love it.
As things that will be on the way. And I thought Kestrel, if it ends up being the MMO, I thought ZeniMax's online MMO was going to be at this year's show. So I would punt that to next year as a reveal. ESO is going to continue to get supported, it seems, even beyond their MMO. So I'm very keen on that. And Roundhouse I'm interested in because if it is a Marvel game, Bethesda having an Indiana Jones game, a Marvel game, Cog.
Hey now.
Bethesda's the key, man. They're the key, man. We've been saying for a while that, like, look, I know Phil has said we don't want the green of the blue or something like that. We don't want to do a PlayStation.
Blue.
Take that page right out the playbook. They're doing it right. I'm sorry, Phil. Like they're doing it right. This Spider-Man 2 is going to sell so many copies. Wolverine is going to sell so many copies. Thanks. We already know that. You can't miss out on this stuff, Phil. You can't, man.
Agreed. You got to get into it. Now, this is great. And again, just going to reiterate what I said. Like, it really excites me about the future of Bethesda. I'm so pumped. Like, so much reassurance and confidence of all the stuff they're working on.
Last one I wanted to kind of point out here, Indiana Jones being the same year as the Oblivion remaster. Oblivion rumored for, according to that LinkedIn post, late 24, early 25. If we put that in the same bin as Indiana Jones, Todd did just say in a interview with Esquire, he said, we'll talk next year in regards to Indiana Jones. So it looks like we're getting the reveal next year, and it shouldn't be too far off from release because you'll see, not listed here, Cog, no Wolfenstein.
Correct.
Nothing else from Machine Games. So this is the main focus for them. Which, how do you feel about that? I'm kind of relieved now. I feel like I got some release knowing the truth, right? Some closure.
Yeah, we got closure on it because we were hoping too much. we love Wolfenstein so much, so it's like, but it makes sense, you know, with Todd's involvement, and you know, we were all surprised. Machine Games is the one that's doing it. You know, it's all hands on deck, and the fact that, you know, the potential rumor that it could be next year. We just want to see this in action. I think Machine Games is like highly underrated. I think they're one of the best FPS shooters going. I want to see how they implement, if there's any type of cinematic nature to this Indiana Jones, or if they make a departure and go a different direction. If they kind of, what is it, like Guerrilla went from, Killzone to Horizon, right? That is not possible. So, hey, you know, do they just won this? You know what I'm saying? But we'll see. But I know I'm excited to see what we got clarity is where I'm at.
Absolutely. Otherwise, I think that's about it for the list. Starfield DLC next year, as kind of expected. It's probably gonna be a bigger expansion. And I think, Doom Year Zero. That one's interesting because it says Doom Year Zero and DLC, but Year Zero sounds like an expansion more than a new game. No mention of Quake, which I found a little surprising there. But otherwise, any extra thoughts here, or should we wrap that part up?
Yeah, just excited. Also, there's projects, right? Project Platinum.
Yeah, what is that?
What is that?
It's a game with Platinum Games.
Don't you, man?
They need a bag.
Hey, right direction. I ain't mad at it, but nah, this is great stuff. And again, I feel for the teams, but future is definitely bright.
Oh, last thing. It's such the obvious one that we almost went over it.
Which one?
Elder Scrolls 6, 3 years after Starfield. Yay or nay? I say nay.
Nay. Yeah, things got pushed back. Starfield with the 2 delays and no.
I think given Xbox's plans for 2028 next console cycle.
Yeah.
I wonder what they're going to launch with.
I wonder.
If they can control their fate that well, oh, dude, they're going to launch with that shit in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's get on to number 2 here. Perhaps most noteworthy of all, Xbox's strategy for the next generation of consoles has leaked. Their vision is listed as, quote, develop a next generation hybrid game platform capable of leveraging the combined power of the client and cloud to deliver deeper immersion, and entirely new classes of game experiences. Optimized for real-time gameplay and creators, we will enable new levels of performance beyond the capabilities of the client hardware alone, end quote. It will also have a focus on next-generation ray tracing and dynamic global illumination. As part of a chart that describes what each generation of Xbox brings to the table, they state that their next one, in 2028, is going to be known for cloud hybrid games and as an immersive game and app platform. It appears to be driven by AI, an area we've seen the likes of Ubisoft push toward with their Ghostwriter, and Xbox appears to be headed the same way. From game testing to making the creative process more efficient and even player safety, all of Xbox's next generation vision is seemingly driven by AI and the cloud. One thing of note is that within a separate graphic, Xbox referred to a handheld as out of scope for the brand, likely meaning they'll continue to lean on partnerships with other handheld providers as the Dukes had predicted. This is the big one, Cog. As much as we're excited about, what's going on with Bethesda, that release schedule, this is a massive deal here that Xbox's at least vision, obviously visions can shift. You told the story about how PlayStation pulled the plug last minute on the similar DMR policy.
Mm-hmm.
So this can shift, but this is the vision for Xbox's next generation in 2028. As Team Digital, I would love to hear you go first on what you think about cloud hybrid games, because I think of what Kojima's working on as sort of the test bed to show us like, this is where we're going, right? Because that's what it's been sort of promoted and leaked as. But what do you make of this next generation vision? What do you make of course, the nature of the leak itself? Go ahead, fire away.
Man, this was the one. And again, it's one thing to get, hey, we knew we knew Tom Henderson and those talked about PlayStation 5 Pro coming out next year, right? And we knew that was coming, but we didn't know anything about a response or anything that Microsoft was going to do in terms of refresh. But I know that's next. But in reference to this is way more damaging because this is literally your roadmap for the future console, right? And we got an inside peek on when you think the next generation of gaming is going to start, right? 2020. So this is completely in the hands of everyone and your competition and your vision, which is this hybrid cloud stuff. Now, look, I'm a techie and I get it. There's a lot of people right now that are hitting me like, oh, I don't like this stuff they talking about. People hit me. They like, bro, this is not a future I'm really feeling. And I understand the concern because the concern is like, look, when certain people hear hybrid cloud, right? The first thing that comes about is like Crackdown 3.
Wow, I forgot about that.
Think about that, right? Wow. And remember that initial demo, and it was like, oh, the power of the cloud, and we're going to break these buildings down, and this is the computational, implementation of the cloud, giving more teraflops to the graphics, and then people are like, okay, but we need to see this implement, and what if I don't got good internet? What's going to happen? Right? My building not going to blow up? It's going to stay there? Like, what's going to happen? So I get it. And this is what I say. And this is what sucks for them is that we are seeing their vision now. Because if you look at a lot of these documents, some of these things are not proof of concept yet. Some of these things, if you look at that
paper,
you look at the slideshow, they're like, hey, we've got this. It's in green, orange, and gray. Green kind of staying established projects that's in Microsoft gaming. Yellow, orange is like research and proof of concept. So that means they're still working on stuff to showcase this stuff. And then gray is like, part of like a future ideation. So the way I look at it is like, we're reading this stuff now in 2023. And we like, yo, how you talk about hybrid cloud, hybrid gaming, right? How is that going to work when we don't have any proof of concept that's successful? And people are very, skeptic about the cloud. And then here's the other thing too, which doesn't work to the advantage of just being leaking, is we've heard in some of these leaks that there is some concern, there was some pushback to Phil, like, yo, are you building a moat? The term was, are you building a moat around us as far as game and content delivery when there's maybe a potential overinvestment in cloud? And we heard now that there is some pullback on going so hard on cloud. These are the things that are swirling with these FTC documents. So a lot of people are like, how they going to be like they pulling back, but then they're going to have a console that's going so hard with a hybrid cloud future. And I get it. All I will say is this, and this is the thing about tech and working in a corporation, is that you always have to think 5 to 7 years or whatever it is out. If you would have told me, right, back in the day before Xbox, and I'm on Genesis or whatever the hell I'm on, right? And you would say, yo, Carl, we're going to be a day where we going to have, right now, I know you're using AOL dial-up, but we're going to use broadband internet and you're going to talk to your friends in Australia. What? How? Right? If you would have told me a day like, yo, bro, we all live in our separate houses, but you, Matty, King, y'all all gonna be able to talk on the same thing no matter what game you play. Yo, Carl, I'm gonna tell you a future like, yo, remember how you doing get midnight launches? Oh, that's over. You're gonna be able to do this in your house, download the game, play the game at the same time. If you'd have told old me that stuff, I would have laughed you out of the building. Yo, Carl, you play games on your Xbox, right? 360 and Xbox One, but guess what? You're going to be able to play nothing but watch movies, Netflix, all this stuff. You can have that on your joint. What? On a game? I'm going to laugh you out the room. So again, all I'm trying to say is 2023 COG looks at some of this and says, yes, how? But 2028 COG, if there's proof of concept, right? And they've cracked some technological barrier that now says, hey, yo, look at this. This is where it's going. We have to give Microsoft this. A lot of times they do have the vision, sometimes a little bit too early.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Sometimes
not Xbox One days.
Sometimes not explained correctly.
Yes.
Right? Because think about this. We sit here and talk about TV, that was the worst thing. What we just watching? Oh, we watching Edge Runners. Oh, we watching Last of Us on. You see what I'm saying? It did go that way. It's just that they were too early in the implementation. So that's all I'm trying to get people here. I'm not saying it's going to work and it's guaranteed. All I'm saying is it's going to be harder for us to understand this when we have no proof of concept of what they're doing to show us the implementation, and the tech is not there. So that's why I'm just going to be reserved on this until I see more. And the last thing I'll say is it may not be what we think also, which is, yo, the Crackdown 3, the game's going to be powered by the cloud. You're going to get extra flops from the cloud. It may be back-end stuff and experience stuff. And the last thing I'll say, I know I'm going long, but the last thing I'll say is, remember when Stadia was announced? Right? I know you may have fell asleep during this, but I watched, right? So
I wasn't watching it at all, by the way. I just got to make it very clear.
Bro, this is a future, because they was talking extra strong. They were like, yo, we don't need a console no more. They tuned Matty out. Phil Harrison was done with Matty. Matty was done with Phil Harrison at that point. Yeah. But what I will remember is they were like, yo, YouTube content creators, we're going to implement this, and people could go into your stream while Mr. Matty Plays is doing this and entertain. Like, they had such cool feature set for gamers, content creators that never made the launch of day at all for Stadia. They was like, oh, coming soon. And then we saw what happened. Yeah. But what I'm trying to say is that it may be, because a lot of this stuff they talk about optimization of acceleration of game performance, development for players and creators. So it could be some innovation on back end things as opposed to game development, and you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And how you like, oh, this is cool. Because think about this: when you've bought a console, and I've never seen this until I got my Series X. When's the last time you booted up when you bought your console out the box, opened the box, and you setting it up with this? Remember that?
That's true. Yeah.
Remember, we never did that before, and it was a seamless process. You're like, oh, okay, cool. I'm done. All right, cool. So that's what I'm trying to say. From a technical, let's just keep an open mind until we get there. But I get the trepidation. I get some of the concern. But I feel for them, because it's like their whole business is out in the street. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, damn, like they
do feel for them on that. Yeah.
Yeah, like they didn't get to explain nothing. So now people going to tear this apart. And then your competitor gets Sony get to, oh, word, 2028, word, okay, all right, this is what it is, and they can counter or whatever. So that's the unfortunate part. But I'm very curious with you, because there's so much with this and refreshes, and oh my god, there's so much.
Yeah, I as someone who is very much about game preservation, I've gone at Xbox for their all digital future, and this just says what we've been saying for a while, which is they're committing to that through and through. If xCloud wasn't enough to tell you that. But the reason I'm open to it with their cloud hybrid games is this means they're undoubtedly going to continue to give you half the game on a disc. Starfield's half a game on a disc. Halo Infinite's half a game on a disc. You're going to download the rest and so on and so forth. This is where they're heading. I hate it, but at the same time, I did watch xCloud develop before our eyes. I always remember that first trailer. They had the phone in hand, and I think they were playing Forza in the trailer. And I'm just like, it's just never going to happen. I know I'm kind of echoing what you'd already said. I was like, that shit's not going to work as well as it does. I remember when it first came out to the public here in the US, gave it a test. I did it on my iPad, my PC, and my phone. My iPad was mixed results where I really wanted to play because I had the idea of like streaming it to my iPad, playing wherever in the house. It's kind of like the audio screwy. The visuals are screwy. Phone was good with certain games though, and I don't want to play on my phone. And then the PC was obviously great. I had Ethernet running there. I'm like, okay, I see the potential here. If I could get this somewhere else, that'd be great. But this isn't the way I really want to play games. If I'm at my PC, I'm going to just download the game, right? But as time has gone on, I want to test something on Game Pass. I stream it on xCloud. I remember playing Soul Hackers for a few hours on xCloud before I even committed to the download. This almost try before you buy feel. I love the Logitech G Cloud gaming handheld was like my turning point. That's where I was like, yo, I didn't even notice. And I hate that, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's pretty. Yeah. So watching it grow over the course of a 2-ish year window, really, in the public eyes, as they shifted to the Series X servers and whatnot, it did make me like, okay, I'm seeing enough progress and it's working. I've tested it on my Fios internet that was in my old studio, tested on my home internet, which is like shitty mid-tier Optimum. I've tested it here, and I got good results on all types of internet, right? Like slow and fast. I've got good results. So I'm seeing the vision pay off where I would normally see this and be like, oh, hold on. And I got some thoughts on one of my fears with Xbox and where they're going. I see it and go, oh, hold on. But because I've watched this cloud vision develop, I'm a little more open to it and the playability of it. I know they're not saying only cloud, but there's going to be some type of online connectivity involvement with our games moving forward, which that's where I need the context to really react, whether fear or excitement, I don't know. But one thing that's mentioned here is an immersive game and app platform. And the way I receive that when I see the word platform is they could be talking about a console hosting all of this stuff. And that's their very colorful internal term for it. I view that as almost Xbox continuing to be an app flowing through and going to as many screens as possible, not just like xCloud, but like your whole Xbox experience, and maybe breaking through and going to other consoles, which I know sounds crazy, but we don't know. The fact that we're talking about with the teases Xbox has done a possible Nintendo Xbox partnership sounded crazy years ago. So who knows if this means they can end up, I don't know if they'd end up on PlayStation, but they end up on Switch. Like, hey, if you're an Xbox fan and you just want to own a Switch, that's great. You can have the whole experience over here. That's one of my other takeaways from it. And then as a developer, I just had some thoughts on where they're focusing creator efficiency. They talk AI game testing, procedural content generation, physics, inverse, and I can't read that last word. And then NLP dialogue generation. AI game testing is something Todd talked about with Starfield. He said they had AI running through the game. So when they say that this is a research and proof of concept, Starfield is one of the test beds for it. And we see the polish of a game that big. So there's something to believe in that. And I think that's where AI will thrive, is like being not to hire a ton, like you still have to hire out human testers to write notes and give feedback and that stuff, but to have people running through your game constantly and breaking things and getting a big change log, that's good stuff. Procedural content generation. Right now, I'm actually blocking out a ton of stuff for my game. And it's definitely like where I think the AI can help a lot in the terms of building games is some of those, what I would call more tedious building blocks to get it going. Like you want to block out your game and put collision on it. And once that's done, then you put the body of quests in there and you create your story and just make sure you can go from point A to point Z. Then you color everything, decorate it, all that fun stuff, and you make it the thing people are going to eventually consume, and bug fix, balance, balance, balance. So the idea that like they're kind of looking at, hey, like we'll, for example, build the ground for you, almost like we'll block it out for you. You press a button, there's your terrain, kind of like what Starfield does. Again, I think Starfield was a major test bed for this. And then dialogue generation.
Okay.
So Xbox is heading in the same direction as Ubisoft. Ubisoft not on an island.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say what I said again. I feel like games are a labor of love. I don't have AI. I don't have Chat GPT doing my fucking movie scripts or writing a book for me. I feel like games are the same. They're a labor of love. I know they're very labor intensive, but they're a labor of love. And I think when you start to narrow the human involvement on things that create character and personality and identity, even if I'm not acting like, if you came to me like, yo, name one NPC conversation that you heard in Assassin's Creed when running around the streets. Probably wouldn't have I don't have an answer for you right now. But that was a human who did it. They put a piece of themselves or an experience they had or something like that into the game. All of that comes together. And I worry about this path on AI where I see as someone who was making a game, I see where, as someone making something, where it could get better. But as a writer, very protective of that. Like we spend a lot of time on NPC dialogue. We spend a lot of time on creating a world that feels lived in, like there are people with, it's not just like person A and person B, like people with names and stories. Like that stuff matters. And when I see the slimming of scope, this stuff's going to become an afterthought. And with that is lost potential. So I worry about that stuff on the creative level too. I will obviously watch from afar as I continue to work on my game and see how other developers implement it. Call me old school, but like that type of shit, hell no. I'm okay. I don't want that stuff.
That's valid. I hear where you're coming from, man. And again, I completely understand the trepidation there. Again, proof of concept. The fact that that's in the orange bracket is very interesting. Research and proof of concept.
Yeah, so something out there.
Yeah,
had to have.
Exactly. So again, but I completely understand as a developer how there is concern there, and that this is dehumanizes a lot of the development process that sometimes gives that flair, that uniqueness to make a game what it is. So again, all I can say is I need to see what they're talking about. I need to see how this affects the industry, and it's just hard for me to, because of the cold hard words of it does sound pretty scary. But you know what I'm saying? Like I feel you.
Of course.
So we got to see.
Yeah, and they talk about game performance, super resolution, frame rate, interpolation. So they're looking to improve performance more.
Yes.
So on. So that's good stuff.
Love that. Love the ray tracing. You know it's going to be more powerful on that. You know, that kind of stuff. They're going heavy into machine learning. You know, we're seeing examples of that already now. Remember, I told you about the Forza stuff and the collision system. Yep. That's machine learning, right? So there's potential for games to be better on a lot of level. The question becomes, with all this technology, you know, how much human element is lost, if any, and then also they have the biggest challenge for them is when you name your console hybrid compute, right? And then you're talking about going from ARM64 architecture versus like a combination of both kind of thing. It is going to scare some people who are traditionalists, who are anti-cloud, and your messaging better be airtight to those people, because they're going to sit there and like, bro, I don't want no cloud, nothing on my future, unless it's the hosted server and that's it. But the same way you have the fear of the dialogue creation and you know, AI integration on that level, there's going to be people there. So, and the thing that sucks is this is out there, right? With no context, no proof of no examples, no nothing. And people are like, yo, I don't know if I want to go game in here. You know what I'm saying? Like, this sucks for them. This really does. So it makes it harder. Yeah. It makes it really hard.
I think it's best to wait and see for this one. It's not to protect their vision, but
I'm not. Yeah,
I just think,
because if I see some stuff I don't like, I'm saying it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I'll be in the same boat here. I think this cloud hybrid games thing, it's funny you bring up Forza, because I think the future of game experience is probably going to be defined by, like, I would say adaptability. So you mentioned how, like, in Forza, like as you're racing along a track, like it's predicting what's going to happen 15 seconds ahead of you. Like, what does a story game like that look like? I feel like that's the question Kojima is going to try to answer. I truly do. Like, because he's got the weird brain for it. He'll think of something, and
Yes.
it may add replayability, more dynamic encounters, and in that case, if the game is better, that's and the other thing, Cog, that we haven't talked about.
Let's go.
There's no denying, and this is not a fanboy term. I'm sorry, but there's no denying that Xbox is leaps and bounds ahead of PlayStation in cloud infrastructure.
Yeah.
Do we see a major deviation between these two in the next generation? Because Xbox is set for this. They spent, if you see here, with each generation of Xbox, it says has brought new innovations. They say the Series X and X generation, one of the things that they brought as a new innovation was Project X Cloud, which we saw like really with the end of the Xbox One generation they spent a whole generation refining and still working on this technology, Cog.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be implemented fully. It's going to be deployed entirely into that next generation.
Mm-hmm.
PlayStation has not been doing that. They've been playing catch up. They did the PS Now. PS Now works fine, but it's not on the level of what you've got with xCloud, with the streaming on your app, on TV, or on your phone and what have you. So do you think we see a major split between these two come the next generation? I think the visions are going to be totally different.
Absolutely. And I think this is where the fork in the road, right? And I'm curious now that PlayStation knows this, is there going to be not a full pivot, but here's the thing. If Microsoft's bet is correct, I hate to inform people, this is no fanboy. Let's just say it does go that way. Let's just say we're in right now the blockbuster era, right? And it's going Netflix. And you out here still owning blockbuster storefronts and
you're gonna scare them, right?
You see what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
So again, I'm not saying this is definitely going to happen. This is definitely the winning strategy. I'm just saying they have clearly geared themselves towards this future. Their whole preparation is towards this future. And here's the other thing: when we went to the Forza event, Matty, if you remember, the marketing said no console required. And if we look at that controller that's supposed to drop, a lot of it is fully direct to cloud. Xbox Wireless 2, Bluetooth 5.0. A lot of these protocols that they would just keep proprietary, just go to the console. They're opening up, pick up the controller, wake up the device or something I saw. Wake on whatever. Like all of this is we can take this wherever we just need a screen. Yeah. And if 2028, if the bet is correct, and let's say technology does make another significant leap that synergizes well with this stuff, they're going to be in the driver's seat. Again, no guarantee, but if their bet is correct, that puts Sony in a bad position because they are behind. They are not invested in that infrastructure. At one point, they were going to seem a partnership, but that seems kind of done after ABK with the Azure, using Azure servers and them giving Microsoft lenses or sensors or something. But that's the key with all of this. Is the bet correct? Are they too early or are they on time? And that's going to be because if they're too early, PlayStation stays with their business model, consoles, they'll be fine. If they're on time, boy, you really behind the 8 ball. And what will you do in conjunction with not only the vision, but the games, right? The Game Pass model, the studio.
Come down to that.
Then it becomes every quarter, let's say the 2021 and the 2023 visions now become the mainstay and the status quo. And we've heard from Cobra Commander, he's like, yo, it's going to be PlayStation like 2 major games a year. I'm not trying to make doom and gloom here. I'm just painting out scenarios that could happen either way, right? And that's when the vision gets scary because they even talk in one of them documents like, we looking at 2030, like we the number one by that point. They got lofty ambitions. So again, is it going to happen? Who knows? You know what I'm saying? It's still, as we currently stand, PlayStation is doing what it's doing, right? And Nintendo is doing what it's doing. But yeah, we got to see. We got to see. It's very interesting to see all this stuff out there.
Absolutely. Because if we live in a more digital world then, which is very likely, and PlayStation is more analog, if you will, I do worry about that a little bit for their future because that definitely puts them in a pretty vulnerable spot to like kind of get eked out. Like what would be almost like borderline comedic irony is if like Xbox goes all digital while PlayStation goes all disc and people, I can't see like a realm where this happens, but there's almost this rebellion against PlayStation.
Right.
Like what? you're not digital, I don't want to click. I don't know what it would be like, but
I mean, but
if we live in that more digital world where like that's how games are played, I don't know, man. It's sounds crazy to say now,
it
but
sounds crazy. Not to cut you again, but remember the PS5 Pro, the Henderson report was like the disk drive was not there and it would be an optional piece for the
good
PS5.
point.
They had like a diskless. So it's this this is the feeling I get from PlayStation. They could see it, but to me, they're like one toe in. Let's not fully all the way because we still got this console thing, right? And we're still doing well there. But yeah, I am curious though. That the detriment to Xbox though, I don't care what nobody say. PlayStation got your homework.
Yep.
So they can at least now adapt a little faster if they were behind and say, yo, this is what they do. We better get with it if this is where it's going. We better at least have a contingency plan.
Yeah, there's an email chain that's active right now.
Oh, Jim Ryan popping off right now. Wait till the next FTC trial. We get more information. And we know about dumb emails. Oh, we saw that. Okay, this is what they doing.
The story grows.
Yes.
We have one more major leak here.
Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy week this week. Crazy.
There are also documents that show a Series X and S refresh is on the way next year. The new Xbox Series X will be digital only, boasting 2 terabytes of storage and targeting a launch of October 2024. A new, controller is also on the way, which has haptic feedback that doubles as speakers, similar to PS5, and a swappable rechargeable battery. It also awakens when you pick it up. The controller, codenamed Sabile, is set to be announced in fiscal year 24 Q4, with a launch supposedly of May 2024 for $69.99. The console, codenamed Brooklyn, is set to launch in October 2024 for $499.99. Now, there's also, I believe, Project Elwood, which is at the tail end of August, it looks like here. And that's another Series S, and that's launching for $299.99. So Xbox is making a big hardware push. They're making a big digital push here. We have a write-in here from Alex Kilgore, and then Cog, I want to kick it to you as you kind of led the charge with the next-gen refresh conversation here. Alex writes, hey Dukes, with the leaks that happened, we see a mid-gen refresh console. While it is super exciting, I failed to see anything listed that would play games like Starfield at 4K 60. This new version of the Series X doesn't seem like the upgrade that Xbox One X was for last generation. It just seems like a storage upgrade. Well, the show, guys, and I hope you have a Phil Spencer waking up to these leaks kind of day. So thank you for writing in, Alex. Yeah, Cog, I mean, we got this new console on the way. No power boost, though. And Phil did say, we don't think we need the mid-gen. We don't think we need that big boost, right? The 1X. They're standing on their square that we have, as he put in that email, the better unit. And that even with a PS5 Pro coming out, do you think Xbox is going to be caught looking foolish next year?
This is the question, and I can't answer it. I don't know how this is going to play because this is a unique situation for them. Prior Phil, and I got to call out the homie, said that we will never lose the power narrative, right? So this is definitely something that is not compatible with a prior statement. Now, this new statement is basically saying, hey, we don't think we're going to do it. And he's standing, it seems like now we know he's standing on that square. It's two trains of thoughts here because there's a part of me that says when that PS5 Pro drop and you seeing Grand Theft Auto, the new one, and they over there 4K 60 ray tracing and the frames is crazy, right? And then you looking at the Series S and X joint and you doing a little, you're doing your little 35, your little 40 frames or whatever it is, right? That's when the Digital Foundry, you start to get dragged in the street, right? The Digital Foundry joints start coming out. And they've been through that a little bit with the PlayStation 4, Xbox One era, right? 1080p, make sure you're better gamer. Remember all that stuff? Like it was out there, right? So it's like, but the difference is that I think that they're holding on to is one, they feel, remember they were popping off with the Series X in comparison to PS5. So they feel that they had to jump. And the vibe I'm getting is they view the Series X as their mid-generation refresh already, the Series S, the low end. If it's what's to be believed, is the Series S is the console that is doing well and, that's the console they expect to sell more. I've always said the 3 SKU approach is too much. We got to be honest. Even though I know I've proven that things can like split screen and all this stuff can be done on the Series S, we have to admit there are some in the development community that do feel it's extra work and a little bit of pain. We have to admit that part.
Yeah.
Some people are not a fan. We have to admit, whether it's development time, resource, we know the reasons. But so now you're going to say, make a third SKU for Series X, triple X, right? That's a big ask. So now this is what I think. I had to have a long, honest conversation with myself. And I'm the power guy. I'm the guy that, man, I will buy Brooklyn. I'll buy all this stuff, right? But Brooklyn ain't got no power upgrade. It's really Wi-Fi 6, more storage, a couple little features here and there, refinements, no disk.
And it's cylindrical.
And it's cylindrical, right? So I know I'm getting it. I'm just how I am. I'm a techie, right? But
God bless.
I know you chilling. You like, I got my disc.
Yeah,
I'm good.
I'm okay.
I know. I got you, Retro Rebound. I know what you're doing. I respect it. So my thing is, you come out, but here's the thing now, and we gotta be honest. When Series X, Xbox One X, Scorpio had all of this, right? They were popping off. Yo, look at our Red Dead. 4K, blowing away. You had that month or two of you winning every third party joint. But what happened when Spider-Man came out? The God of War, The Last of Us. Does anybody care about your extra frame there? So what it showed to me is power really doesn't win the generation. You got to have the games. So what we seeing now is when you're looking at a Starfield, you go, oh, are we really going to care about how much frames they're going to have if Hellblade is popping and Fable's a 90 Metacritic and Avowed is you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you got all the Call of Duties in Game Pass and every ABK game is in Game Pass. And oh, by the way, we just saw Bethesda's roadmap. Oh my God, the Dishonored 3 is a 90 Metacritic and here come Indiana. Are we really going to care about the extra 5? See, again, it showed games are going to win. At the end of the day, it comes down to the game. So I get it for the people who are worried, who are so used to the power. I like the power too, but they actually look like they're going to have the games now. So that's where I'm at. The last thing I want to say, and I forgot from the last, hybrid console that is a key point I forgot, and I do have to mention this. Another thing we have to look at this shift when you see the ARM architecture and all this stuff versus traditional, is also in mobile. And we know why they did ABK, and we know why they wanted certain companies, because now if you're talking about the easy implementation of mobile they're going to do it. And it's going to be a synergy there. That's another. I just wanted to mention that part. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, this is interesting. And like you said, another Series S refresh. I could see that. To me, these are the slim versions. This is the slim. I was surprised that they were going to do a system though. I didn't see that. And this would have been the counterpunch at next year's E3 to be like, okay, they're doing this, but boom, we got this and we got this. So you could get, last point, I forgot. This is the big one. I forgot this part.
Go for it.
Now, we'll say this is all an L. All of this. Brooklyn cylinders. If PS5 Pro, if the rumors are, I don't know if they are aligning that it is $500 and you come out with this and it's $500 and it's the same, that's an L. You cannot have this go head to head $500 with a more powerful. You better be $400 or you better have some internal information that they're $600.
Yeah.
You can't drop that at $5. Talking about,
point.
With the same specs.
Yeah. Nah, you're right. Totally right. I sit on the side of the fence where the console is exciting for those who want a nice mid-gen refresh and upgrade, but I'm actually very excited about this controller because I think the DualSense features are great. I think anything that lets me play and feel a game differently, I'm always going to be in support of. And while I've been a big supporter of the Xbox controllers and just the feel ergonomically, like it's funny from holding Rufus so much, I started to get a little strain in my thumb and I had to wear, here we are, I had to wear a little thumb splint for a while. And I was playing Final Fantasy VIII and the way there's a little reach your thumb has to do on PlayStation controllers, it was the same thing with the 4. And it was like re-aggravating my thumb. And it just kept it was like a nagging pain. So I switched over to my PC and I started playing. And bro, it's just this little bit of support here. Like the ergonomics of an Xbox controller just work for my long fingers so well. And not only that, but I know some people go back and forth on the swappable battery. My PS4 controller by the end of the generation was dying so much, man. It was like I always connected via USB. As a sustainable person, not crazy about batteries, but I also will buy a big pack of batteries, throw it in a drawer, and I'll use it for like years because these Xbox controllers last forever. So I'm very excited to see that Xbox is now getting into beyond, if it's not broke, don't fix it rhythm. They're like, let's create half the controller being speakers. I think that's an awesome look.
Oh yeah,
Haptic feedback through those speakers, so we're gonna feel them in a different area. I didn't notice this until you pointed out, but the Play Anywhere mantra, where it can connect directly to cloud or to your system with a lift and it detects, that's going to be a game changer. That's the seamlessness that people have been looking for. This is real to me, the more exciting announcement of the two. Like, bro, I hate that the controller bros after my big rant, like, here we go. I got a colorful one. Now I see this, but it's, you know what? I'm going to protect myself before anyone gets their write-ins next week. Features.
Yes.
Features. I got one cosmetic. You can come for me for the Starfield controller, but features, new things, new ways to play and feel games, seamlessly pairing and switching. That's going to get me to buy my controller more often. That's going to get me to upgrade. And so this is a vision I can really get behind. The mid-gen refresh, you said everything I would have wanted to say. If you're matching the price of a new PS5 Pro, awful look, man. That Pro, I would be surprised if, I'm not sure, would I be surprised? I'd be kind of surprised if PlayStation came out and it's like, yeah, 600, 700.
I know.
I would be you got to eat the hardware cost, right? But this is like the PlayStation that suddenly bumped the PS Plus. This is the PlayStation that said $10 upgrade, y'all.
Yeah.
So I also could see them saying, like, they did PSVR and it's a lot of money to get into that.
Yep.
I could see them saying, look, this is they're doing headphones and all this crap. So I could also see the opposite way. Maybe I'm accustomed to the PlayStation I know and love, but yeah, if they come out and they're the same price, Xbox is going to be in for a pretty big PR beatdown. But as you said, the games are good.
Yes.
The games are delivering. If Xbox can do that, they can rise above any sort of trepidation.
Gotta have the games. Agreed. But good call on the controller.
Yeah, the controller looks awesome. With that, I'm going to let everyone know right now, because this show's going on almost 4 hours.
Yeah.
No Game Pass pick of the week. We'll save yours for next week. No ending questions.
Yeah, because it's one of those type of shows.
Yeah, we know what you're here for.
Yeah.
To wrap up the news, we're going to spare Ben and Locke as much as we can.
As much as we can.
Yeah,
I know.
So
this is one of those shows.
Let's get it rocking and rolling here, Cog. We'll wrap up with this. What's coming soon to Xbox Game Pass? We have on September 19th, already out now, Lies of P to console, PC, and cloud. Party Animals, by the way, Lies of P day one. Party Animals day one. Party Animals is going to console and cloud Game Pass. That's September 20th, so it's already out. 21st, another day one Game Pass game, Payday 3, going to Series X and S, PC, and cloud. Then there's Cocoon on September 29th to PC and console Game Pass. Cog, we were right over about like a year later here. Look what it is. Gotham Knights is here in Game Pass October 3rd on Series X and S, PC, and cloud. And then you can't believe it.
Yo, when did I miss this? Where have I been?
I know, right? It's funny. I saw people talking about like, yo, I got to get the number. We can see how much they were going to pay for day one Game Pass for Gotham Knights.
Oh yeah, they had the numbers of all the different games.
I think it was the same.
Yo, somebody, you see 2K prices? They were like, yo, we charge you per month, bro. We ain't even doing for. I said, yo, them game price bags is crazy. They was asking for.
Yeah, I got to find the number real quick. Once I finish this up, because the amount of money, it was insane. Anyway,
yeah.
And then this one, Cog, you should look into if you haven't. The Lamplighters League, very XCOM like. October 3rd, another day one Game Pass game. I think this is a Paradox published game. Series X and S, PC, and cloud. So really a whole lineup of day one Game Pass games, and then you got Gotham Knights. Then leaving Xbox Game Pass. This has already happened, but just so you're aware of it.
Yes.
Amazing Cultivation Simulator leaves PC Game Pass. Origami 2 is actually out this time. Remember, it exited and it came back. It's out this time. Console, PC, and cloud. Danganronpa V3 is out. Damn. Y'all didn't play it. You're lost now. Go buy it. Go give Kazutaka Kodaka his bag.
Mm-hmm.
Console, PC, and cloud. DC League of Super Pets, The Adventures of Crypto and Ace is a big loss for UCOG. Console, PC, and cloud. Fuga Melodies of Steel leaves console, PC, and cloud. Metal Hellsinger leaves console, PC, and cloud. Sid Meier's Civilization 6 leaves console, PC, and cloud.
Mm.
Tainted Grail, Conquest. This one was downloaded on my Series X for so long, never played it. Leaves console, PC, and cloud. And Train Sim World 3 leaves console, PC, and cloud. The Rogue has the write-in. Hi, gents. Liza P is looking great. Is it a massive win for Game Pass that they had 2 great games come out in the same month? For me personally, it's almost a bummer. I am not moving on from Starfield anytime soon. The question is Xbox, for Xbox, is it important to spread games out, or is it just important to release lots of great games? Wanted to try to ask the question not about the leak, but that controller though. So, Kai, we have a massive list here, tons of day one games, back to back to back. You had Starfield before this. I think the Rogue's question is very timely. You know, I know some of these are unavoidable, like Liza P getting a delay, but do you think with what Phil said about the portfolio spreading it out, we saw more of that? Do you think this is just a holiday period, kind of like buzz? Let's just get a lot of things going on here. Do you think this is a win for Xbox to have all these? Liza P reviewed very strongly. Bro. Starfield reviewed strongly. Party Animals did as well. I don't know about Payday 3 yet, but I'm excited to play that one based on what you told me about it. So, Cog, what do you make of all of this Game Pass stuff? What are you excited to play, of course, but is too much a good thing or a bad thing?
I mean, we're in that zone right now where it's getting crazy. Right? So many goddamn games, bro. It's crazy. But it's just like the thing right now is, you know, for first party, I'm with Phil the whole thing, which is like, yo, you got to control the cadence and spread stuff out. But third party, it's hard because these are relationships that, you know, you get money for them being on the platform. They want to come out. They're going to set the tone as far as their release dates. So it's hard to control them. And the other thing is that this is where I'm not as worried that third party stuff is much, only because of the fact that if you look at Liza P and Liza P Souls community, let's go, right? There's going to be guys that didn't like Starfield and I'm like, oh, but I'm a Souls guy. Here I go, right? Then Party Animals, you got that contingent, right? Let's have fun with these crazy animals, break things down. Payday 3, multiplayer. To me, it's the diversity of genre that will save them, right? Because it's different type of game. Lamplight Elite, I saw that. That looked like some XCOM Indiana Jones type joint. That joint looked fire.
Oh, up your alley.
Yeah, I'm in. I said that's a go. I'm throwing that on the ROG. I need a good another turn-based game. You know what I'm saying, on the ROG besides, you know, Persona, which is long as hell. That game long as hell, man.
I know, but it's worth it.
It is. It's great. I'm just saying it's long. I might play Tactica, finish Tactica, and then get back to that's how
honestly, this thing is not a bad idea.
Yeah, but anyway, it got them nice. I ain't gonna front. I held strong. I stood on my square. I didn't purchase. I didn't do. So I'm rewarded now. I'm like, oh, you want to come out for free $99? Let's go. But yeah, I think they'll be fine with diversity of schedule. You know, I mean of genre. But first party, you got to space out. And first party, you can't be having Avowed on top of, you know, like, I don't know, Outer World, like the samey, you know what I mean? Like Starfield next to Avowed. You can't.
Yeah, yeah. You want to avoid overlap, yeah.
Yeah, you know, Fable got to breathe from, you know, as long as the genres are there. Like Forza can happen because you cars, you simulation, you different. You're a whole different audience. So I don't have a problem with that as much. But yeah, this is. I just think last point, they're cooking right now, bro. Yeah. This is, bro, the Game Pass between all of these games that they had this is a great year again. This is 2020. This is. Oh, you can make the argument better than 2021 the way they cook it right now. But,
absolutely.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Look, I mean, if anyone is denying Game Pass at this point, I don't know what to tell you. And I say that not to fanboy. I say that to be completely reasonable. They have put 3 Game of the Year candidates in 3 weeks. They have put Liza P in. They have put Starfield in. They have put Sea of Stars in. And I'm going off everyone's favorite Open Critic scores. These are highly reviewed, highly played, highly discussed games, and they all have been fantastic. I don't know how you look at that and go, fuck this service. You don't have to buy it. You don't have to be subscribed to it. Some people don't see value in it. They want to take their time and play their games. But if you want to keep up with the zeitgeist and you want to just hop from game to game to game, like you can just, I've always said, man, like if I was a straight casual gamer, I'd have my retro collection. I'd play a lot of that and I'd be a Game Pass subscriber. If I was not a reviewer, if I was just, you know, if you will, average Joe playing games, that's what I'd be doing because, bro, you cannot argue the value here, the ability to try before you buy and so on and so forth. I'm just very impressed with this. In the terms of Rogue's question, I think the main focus has to be what Phil said, which is spreading out the first party. I think when it comes to Game Pass, there is that nice, okay, like we got a lot going on here, and that's good because I think Game Pass is about a variety of options, right? You can see here you've got a Souls-like game, a co-op bank robber thing, you have a party game, you have we'll say comic license game, and you have a strategy XCOM style game. All of them very different. And before this, you have a massive galaxy exploring first person shooting game. So I think maybe the only slight overlap is you have 2 FPS games in the same month. But otherwise, this is a very, very different bunch of games. And what that means is what Xbox, they're kind of practicing what they preach here. They're about finding something for everybody. And that is the case right here. So we as enthusiasts may look at this and just feel overwhelmed. Like, I want to play Payday 3. I'm very excited for that. I want to play Liza P. I'm so excited for that. I'm still playing Starfield. I'm not done fully.
Done with Starfield,
right? Yeah. Well, by the time when this goes out, I'll probably be done with Starfield because I'm like almost done with one last quest line and I'm done. Because I got to cut the leash for a little bit and just spread my wings. I just got to kind of like be free of the content machine for a little bit and just step away from. I love Starfield, but I got to step away for a little bit and just go shift my focus elsewhere for some time.
See other people,
enjoy some other games, right? But look, man, they're delivering a variety, and there's again, beyond the enthusiasts, there's something for everybody here, and that's the winning formula.
Yeah. Last point. I don't know if we mentioned it before about the stuff that came out in reference to user engagement and monetization with Game Pass. I don't know if you caught that one.
I did not. Go ahead.
I'll send you the link real quick so you can see it long. This was interesting, in reference to Game Pass user engagement and monetization. They're saying that the information came out that Game Pass subscribers pay 14 hours.
Oh yeah,
more. Yeah, did we cover this? I wasn't sure if we covered. Okay, just because there's so much news, bro, I'm losing track.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay, yeah. So pretty much,
episode almost you're fine.
Yeah, we got metrics saying that increasing engagement, and then also they're spending more when they're in there. So again, and we got some sustainability numbers today. So we're seeing the cool thing about these leaks is we're seeing that things are a little bit more stable than some people thought they were, kind of thing. And hey, the train keeps rolling right now. It's been a great year for them so far.
Here's the list of estimates for Game Pass day one games here, right? It's pretty crazy what they were looking at in 2022. Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga would have cost them $35 million. Dying Light 2, $50 million. City Skylines 2, it says unknown. It's funny because I think they ended up getting that. So like that actually would have been a useful one to see.
Yeah.
Red Dead Redemption 2, $5 million per month.
per month. We build use a subscription service for us.
This is an insane price tag here because this game is not good enough to charge this much. Dragon Ball The Breakers, $20 million. That's crazy.
Dragon Ball, y'all licensed, boy. Ooh, y'all acting up out here. I get it.
Just Dance, $5 million. Let's Sing, ABBA, $5 million.
Okay.
Shout out to Lockmore. Return to Monkey Island, $5 million.
All right, Monkey Island, let's go.
Wreckfest 2, $10 to $14 million.
Wow.
Listen to this fucking steal that they could have had. Baldur's Gate 3, $5 million. Phil!
Oh, yeah.
Phil! What are we doing, Phil?
They missed that one. Yeah, that would have been, you got to throw them that 5. They would have been in. Oh.
Guess what's 10 times more? Gotham Knights, $50 million. $50 million, bro.
Yeah, that's that license, bro.
I know.
That's what it is.
Assassin's Creed Mirage, $100 million.
Ubisoft is too expensive right now, bro.
Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, $250 million.
Yeah, no.
Here's the King of the Mountain. You ready for this one?
What's
Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Oh, God.
They're like, you want Star Wars? $300 million, please.
Yo, Respawn ain't playing okay, side. They know how much they were,
like,
baby.
Offset every sale. Offset every sale and then some. You think subs buy this stuff? Okay. Offset it anyway.
We go offset all our money. Yeah. You want to play with the big boy? Hey, I ain't even mad at Respawn. I ain't even mad at you, baby. You right. You want this? You got to pay like you weigh.
Grand Theft Auto 5, $12 to $15 million per month. Mortal Kombat 1, $250 million.
Oh yeah, boy, now he know his worth. He know.
Blood Runner, $5 million.
All right.
Net Crisis Glitch Busters, $5 million. I don't know, man. I don't know. These indies must be getting dude. Sea of Stars.
Sea of Stars.
Sea of Stars probably got $5 million easy.
2 bags. Remember they still got that PlayStation Plus back too.
Good for them. Good for them.
I'm happy. I'm so happy. The game's good
numbers,
too.
Even if they got half of that, they got 2.5. Good for them, bro. They made bang. Good for them.
I love it.
Well, Cog, that's it for this episode. It was a big one. And we appreciate everyone hanging with us this long. I'm sure by the time it's all edited with ads and everything, it'll be pushing 4 hours. We appreciate, again, Ben and Locke doing the hard work here for the edit. And we appreciate you listening to us here. And certainly there was a lot of takes going around. So I'm sure the discourse will be absolutely respectful down below and not a complete mess. But we appreciate those of you who listen, whether you agree or disagree, and just taking our thoughts and share the love of the Dukes. We appreciate it. Cog, any closing thoughts as we wrap up episode 142? Definitely one for the books.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the ages when, we can't even fit in Tokyo Game Show. And it's that type of show. And look, again, we have to cover this stuff. This is arguably the biggest leak in gaming history. We've never had anything like this on a scale, from a roadmap, from a plan, from 5 years down. This is unprecedented information. And again, I feel for the teams. I feel for people who didn't get a chance to, relay the vision correctly the way they want. But at the same time, from a content creator standpoint, I got to be honest, there's a lot of it that I'm like, man, it justified a lot of things we thought. It also showed a brightness on future on software. It showed some trepidation on hardware. It's a lot to this to unpack. So, I know the official statements are, hey, plans, this is not the full, things have changed. Maybe to some extent, but then also,
be a pretty big fucking shift based off of
it would be a huge shift. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying people are, I'm just saying this is, we got to remember these days and what happened and where you are. So we had to cover it, and I appreciate everyone for rocking with us for, as long as the show was, but this is one of those moments that we got to cover. And I love talking about this type of stuff.
Absolutely. So Cog, it's time for the hashtag.
Wow.
What do we do with, man? There's so many things.
So many.
DD leak? Is that too simple?
It's too simple. I mean, this is leaks, right? Like this.
Plumber, you gotta.
I gotta stay away from plumber because they coming for me.
Oh
because I got too much Mario beef right now. The Mario Bros.
You gotta protect yourself.
On me. Yeah, shout out to Don Otaku, Lazy Otaku, all the otakus, everybody's after me.
Okay. We'll protect. We gotta protect you.
I can't have plumber in the joint.
We can do DD leak. We can keep it nice.
Yeah, let's just keep it leak.
All right, cool. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, if you got this far into the episode, I am at G27 status on Twitter. Cog is at Lord Cognito. You can tag us there. Use the hashtag DDLeak. Let us know your thoughts on the biggest leak in Xbox history, alongside everything we discussed today, positive or negative. We're looking forward to hearing your thoughts. Other than that, you can post in the comments down below, hashtag DDLeak. Let us know your thoughts on the episode. We just want to hear from you either way. Thank you so much for engaging. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you. And I'm sure next week will be just as spicy. So we'll see you then. Take great care of yourselves, and peace out.
Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the United States of America. The show is conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Matty's co-host is Barry Lord Cognito Eversley. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman, and the show is edited by associate producer Ben Smith. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level on Patreon, and we're thankful for your kindness and generosity.